Hello there, and welcome to episode number 142 of Dude and a Monkey. My name's Ian Loring, and as always, I am joined by...
Mark Foster. Hello, everybody.
And, we are live in the same room. We've already done quite a bit of recording today, but we think we're going to split the recording into two episodes. So actually, no, this might be 142, like part 2.
143. Fuck it, let's chin truck this shit and boost our numbers a little bit.
Really?
No.
So
just 42 part 2.
This is 142 part 2. So you already will have had our review of the Hateful Eight. Hopefully the audio came out all right. Apologies if you couldn't really hear. I think most of it, you could hear us. It's just a lot of background noise.
There's a bit of background noise, certainly, yeah.
So we're going to have our top 10, our bottom 10, our surprises, disappointments, general chat, and at the end as well, just because it tied in with my number one surprise, we're going to have a bit of a bonus chat that we recorded with Andrew Jones at Ethan Runt on Twitter, so I'll stick that in at the end of the podcast. So, that sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's cool, yeah.
Okay, cool. So, we're recording this we're starting the recording at 11:03, when we've already been drinking all evening and we've watched The Hateful Eight and whatnot. And to be fair, podcast recording is probably not the right thing to be doing, and also, we're in a hotel room, so hopefully we're not going to get shushed.
Fuck them.
Chatting's alright.
Chatting's alright. If we were fucking, it might be different.
Yeah.
So later on, we might have problems.
Yeah, we might. So, dudeandamonkey@gmail.com, at Ian Loring, at dudefoz, at dudeandamonkey. Mark, anything else? Or?
No, let's fucking go, motherfucker.
Okay, cool. What do you want to start with? Should we just start
should we go 10 to 8 and then do disappointments and then go from there?
Yeah, okay, so 10 to 8 and then disappointments. Okay, so I did a 20.
I didn't.
Oh, really?
No, I barely did a 10.
Okay, fair enough. I want you to avert your eyes for a sec.
I'm not looking.
So for what it's worth, my number 20 was Hyena. Number 19 was... Choice. Yeah, that's a great film.
Great film.
19 was Inherent Vice. 18, Clouds of Sils Maria. Which I haven't actually talked about on the show, but I watched this week.
I've not seen it, yeah.
It's fucking fascinating.
Is it?
It's like proper meta, but not like, look how clever we are.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. With Juliette Binoche and Kristen Stewart. I don't think Kristen Stewart's ever been better. And Chloe Moretz gives a performance where you kind of think like she could actually do something beyond Hit Girl.
I think Chloe Moretz is a great actress who could be kind of troubled by her own need to be seen as more when she clearly is already more.
Yeah, no, quite. Yeah, that's fair. But the third act slightly lets it down for reasons that I don't want to get into here. But those who have seen it will know what the third act is and would then probably know what my problem is with it. So I'll leave it there. Number 17 is Bridge of Spies, which I think I'm actually going to be talking about later on. So I'll leave that be for now. Number 16, Brooklyn. Number 15, Spotlight. Number 14, The Martian. Number 13, The Big Short. Number 12, Shaun the Sheep the movie, which I did think was going to be in my top 10, but didn't make it, thanks to basically the last week or so. And my number 11 is Spring. So, yeah. So, shall I do my number 10? Or
yeah, go with your number 10.
Okay, so my number 10 is Denis Villeneuve's Sicario.
Very good.
Which I liked more the more I thought on it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, fantastically well shot. Tense as all hell. And just it's one of those kind of mid-budget films that Hollywood aren't supposed to be making anymore.
Yeah, we keep hearing this, that Hollywood aren't making these mid-budget things. And even we both watched, I've watched most of it, you've watched all of it, that Director's Roundtable with another reporter with Inarritu,
Scott, Tarantino, Russell, Boyle.
And Boyle. And Inarritu says on that, that these films are dying out, and I think we think they are, but in reality they're not. They're thriving a little bit,
or at least the good ones are.
The good ones are, but even what people perceive as not being the good ones are still making money. Sicario is a great movie, and it did great business and was critically acclaimed, hugely acclaimed movie. And then even, movies like one that it hasn't actually made my top 10, but was very close to it. In fact, my number 11, Southpaw, a movie that cost $35 million. A movie that in American cinemas, they actually had to put it back on.
Yeah.
6 weeks after it came off because people were asking about it, and it made money. These are the mid-budget movies that we've thought we've spoken about it, but everyone spoke about it. That it's disappearing, and they're not actually. They're kind of thriving a little bit at the moment, but very much under the radar in the terms that studios are going. Hang on a minute, we can throw out a between $35 and $50 million movie. And still make money. I mean, a mid-budget movie now is a $60-70 million movie. We want to see one today. Hateful Eight cost $65 million. That's a mid-budget movie nowadays.
Yeah.
It's insane. That movie will do $200 million. So it will triple its budget.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you?
I would think it will do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already up to about 30 something in the US, and it hasn't really
kicked off
there yet. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I mean, for Emily Blunt, who's fantastic, Benicio del Toro, who I think is probably not getting enough notice in like best supporting actor kind of territory. He's very good in this, and I don't know. It like as I said, some of the most tense stuff you've seen all year. An ending which is, I don't know, pretty much spot on. I mean, the final bit is maybe a little bit nail on the head, but it's I at the same time it kind of, I don't know, it maybe feels necessary for the story, so it's hard to kind of criticise it too much. But I mean, there are a lot of other films that have done nail on the head stuff this year, a lot worse and a lot more bluntly. So there you go, Sicario is my number 10.
Cool. My number 10, it's a film we spoke about earlier. It's Hateful Eight just snuck in there. It has.
Okay.
Reasons being is. I'm a huge Tarantino fan, and I think that the overall film quenches my Tarantino thirst that you get every few years, because he's a filmmaker who released a film every sort of 3-4 years. But the other point of it is that its negative points don't outweigh its positive points. At no point do when it starts getting, the points that we would consider to be its negative points aren't, for me, thinking about it, aren't points that I think make the film worse. They're points for me that stop the film from being better.
Okay, that's interesting. I read out my 20, and at the moment, I'm pretty happy with that 20.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think Hateful Eight's not far off of there.
I would also be interested, because we've seen essentially, for all intents and purposes, a special edition of the Hateful Eight.
Mm.
So it'd be interesting to see what the actual general theatrical version.
Yeah, what Brad was saying there, if there wasn't an intermission.
And it wasn't an intermission. Because one thing I will say that we didn't say on the review of Hateful Eight is the intermission for me harmed the film and harmed the film experience as well. Because people saw an intermission. An intermission is a break in a film, and it's an opportunity to go off. And we used it as an opportunity to kind of stretch our legs.
Stand up,
But it's an opportunity to go off and do things. But if a 12-minute intermission, people see that if they have 12 minutes to go off and do stuff. You don't. You have 12 minutes for the film restarts.
Yeah.
If you're not going to do stuff, you're going to do stuff in minute 1. There were still people passing us in minute 10.
Yeah.
Who weren't going to the toilet. And then there were the same people that passed us in minute 10 were coming back with popcorn and drinks and stuff like that 4 minutes into the movie, which did involve me at a point where it's quite a crucial point of what's going on. And yes, it's been narrated, but the visuals of what's happening, I was having to look around people to see what was going on because I couldn't see it because there were people right in my eye.
I'm not going to spoil that. It's just Tarantino's talking about coffee.
Yeah.
And it's like, you do need to be paying attention to what he's saying there.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, probably the same because you were sat right next to me. But I was having to look around people to see what was. That's. I'm not talking about like people's heads. This was full people right in front of me, so that kind of took me away from it a little bit. But in terms of that, my Tarantino thirst was quenched easily enough in the fact that I thoroughly enjoyed it. And it is just snuck in at my number 10. Maybe in going back over maybe halfway through this year, I will look at it and rewatch the couple of films that didn't quite make it. I'll rewatch Hateful Eight and go, maybe I was a little bit. Maybe I got caught up in the moment of the Super 70s Panavision.
Then again, maybe I got caught up in I'm a bit disappointed by it, and maybe if I do watch it again, it will. It will go up there again.
But right now, I'm happy with my number 10. I was hoping it's going to be higher, but it wasn't. But
I was really hoping it would break through for me, and just it's one of the reasons why we delayed doing year end until now. Yeah. Was because we wanted to get Hateful Eight seen, so I'm glad it had an effect on one of our lists.
I'm not disappointed in it, but also as well, I don't wish it was better, but it didn't quite break my top 5 or anything like that, which I kind of expected it might do.
Yeah, fair enough.
Going to your number 9.
My number 9 is Slow West, which is a film we both saw this week.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix UK. So, there's kind of no excuse to not see it. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Noel's just saying it's a bit late for him, which is fair enough. It's the directorial debut of Beta Band member John McClane.
Yeah.
It was one of those kind of indie films that came out this year where, I'll be honest, I've been playing a lot of games this year, and it's one where if I hadn't been playing as many games, I probably would have got to earlier, and it makes me think I shouldn't play games in 2016, so I don't think I will be. I don't know. I watched it primarily because it was an hour and 24 minutes.
That's kind of why, in a way, why I watched it as well.
Yeah,
I wanted to watch it as well, but the fact that it was that short it kind of helped me out a little bit as well.
Yeah, no, quite. So, I mean, for those who don't know, stories basically, Cody Smith-McPhee, who's, I believe, an Australian actor, might be Kiwi. Sorry?
It's Australian.
He's Australian or Kiwi, he's one of the other. Plays...
It would make sense because his first film was Road, the John Hill
The Road, yeah, and he did Let Me In, didn't he? And I think he's playing Nightcrawler in the new X-Men, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's a weird-looking fucker. Let's be honest, he's a weird-looking fucker, isn't he? He's Australian, I've heard he's blind. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, that.
So, he plays a Scottish guy looking for his love, who has retreated to America with her father. Enlists the help of Michael Fassbender's...
He's kind of had that thrust upon him, doesn't he?
Yeah, slightly, yeah. Like, Michael Fassbender basically helps him and then says, look, if you want to actually live, pay me money, because I'm not going to kill you, but you're going to get fucking killed unless I help you. So Fassbender he does play Irish, doesn't he?
I thought he was American.
I thought he said at one point, like, one of his parents was Irish and the other was Canadian or something.
Oh, does he? I might have missed that bit,
but I hope I'm not making that up. But, yeah, so you got a Kiwi playing a Scot and an Irishman playing an Irish Canadian going across the American West, being trailed at points by the Australian Ben Mendelsohn, playing Australian?
Yeah, he's playing Australian.
Yeah, but across the American West.
He's fantastic, as Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn is the greatest coat anyone has ever worn in this film. Coat. That coat looks like...
It'd be so comfortable.
Yeah. It looks like the furs of about half a dozen different, really comfy-looking animals. It
looks like a comfortable version of what Leonardo DiCaprio crawls into The Revenant, but without all of the disgusting.
That is perfect.
It looks like that.
And he looks like a boss.
Ben Mendelsohn is... just Animal Kingdom is a fantastic movie. But what Alan Monkey did more for us was it went, oh, by the way, he's fucking Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah. Isn't he great? And everyone went, yeah, he is, isn't he? Because there's very few times where Ben Mendelsohn isn't one of the best things that he's in.
Sure.
Even when you go down like Dark Knight Rises, you look Dark Knight Rises, but you go back and watch that, Bale's fantastic.
Yeah,
Hardy's fantastic.
Really solid,
but Mendelsohn is subtly one of the best things in it.
It's really weird looking back on Dark Knight Rises now. I'm thinking that Tom Hardy and Ben Mendelsohn were in that.
Yeah.
Like proper, like indie, like hot shit actors were in the Dark Knight Rises.
But well, Nolan picks actors.
Totally.
He picked actors. You know, you look at it. Nolan picked fucking Topher Grace to be in a really small role, but he works really well for that role.
Oh, in Stella, yeah.
Stella, you know, that's kind of what he does. You know, even when you go to Insomnia, Nolan picked Robin Williams to play a certain role in it, and he fits perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, quite. So, Slow West is a really discombobulating film, I think. It's quite a simple through narrative, but it feels like it's made up of individual scenes, but all those individual scenes are for a purpose. It doesn't feel like it's strung together, but it feels like they are quite separate from each other, even though elements bleed in, like the kind of standoff in the shop, and the kids are there, and then they come back into it later on. But it kind of feels like its own individual bit. And when Ben Mendelsohn comes in, it feels like he just kind of like walks in as if he's just coming in off stage or something. He's like, "Here I am. You want some absinthe?" And it's brilliant.
Every time you expect the movie to go bigger, it doesn't. Every time you expect to have a big crescendo, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It ticks along quite smoothly. It's a very peculiar movie.
And I mean, the aspect ratio is something which you will have heard in the last podcast if you listened to it. Brad actually live emailing the director of photography.
Yeah, I've tweeted the director as well to see,
cool.
What he says as well, actually.
Because I fully believe the aspect ratio is there to further weird people out. Just with the general.
It does seem like a strange.
Because it is. It is 1.66. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Okay. Which is odd. You know, you watch it on Netflix. There's black bars on the left and the right. I mean, Noel WhatsApped us, didn't he?
He did, yes.
And it was like, "What's going on with the black bars?" It's like, it is what it is. They're actually intended, and it's things like that. I mean, because the thing is, it's not quite getting a bit inside baseball, but it's not quite 1.33 to 1 like Andrea Arnold did with Wuthering Heights. I think she did with Fish Tank as well, where it's like, and Mommy. Have you seen Mommy?
I've got to see Mommy now.
So it's like the proper boxed in, but it's not properly widescreen, and I think that's what it's there for, but I'm ready to be proven wrong, and it sounds like we'll get an answer at least. So that's interesting. But
it will be interesting to know what the kind of the idea,
the thinking behind it was, yeah. But I mean, the ending of the film as well. I was very tense. I'm not gonna say anything specifically, but I was really on the edge of my seat, waiting for someone to look at someone else. Oh,
sorry.
That's all right. On the edge of my seat, waiting for someone to look at someone else. You know what I'm referring to?
No. Spoiler it.
No, not because we haven't done this. I'm going to try and pause the.
Yes.
Okay, so I just told Mark what I was talking about, and that bit. Yeah. Obviously, Mark wasn't very tense during that bit. No. I was.
Oh.
Fair enough.
I enjoyed Slow West, but it just, I don't know, it lacked the kind of punch that you got out of it for me.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's just one of those things. I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
Fair enough. And what's your number 9, Bill?
My number 9 is Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, as it is weirdly titled. it was a strange one because I'm a fan of the Mission Impossible films. In that I really liked 1. 2 is ridiculous, and like we've said when we covered them in a marathon, that it essentially is Tom Cruise in a midlife crisis in a movie. 3 is the J.J. Abrams movie, and it's good. It's a J.J. Abrams film. It ticks all the boxes for like almost like an almost reboot, but not quite a reboot. And then number 4 has. It's not a great film, but it has some great sequences in it. Brad Bird, I believe it was, wasn't it? Yeah. And then Chris McQuarrie came along, and he'd done Jack Reacher previously, which was a great movie. I took everyone by surprise at how good that was. Obviously had a lot of relationship there with Cruise, and Cruise I think will probably have helped him. And I'm pretty sure Cruise selected him, I think, for MI5.
Yeah, basically it was. I think they were doing stuff on Jack Reacher. Like Chris McQuarrie tells this story, and he was just talking to Tom Cruise, and like they were just chatting, and Cruise was just like, "What do you think about doing the next Mission Impossible?" And McQuarrie was like, "Yeah, that'll be interesting, yeah." And then Tom Cruise basically went out the room, got on the phone with Brad Gray, the president of Paramount Pictures, and then just came back in the room. He was like, "Right, you're doing Mission Impossible 5."
Which is brilliant, because it makes sense, because Jerry was so much better than anyone expected it to be, I think, really.
That flick is solid as fuck.
It's a great movie. And Mission Impossible 5, it gave us a great thing of where you said about, and quite rightly so, absolutely, that Mission Impossible 2 is like something like a midlife crisis. What Mission Impossible 5 gives us is a film where you've got a lead character that's been so impenetrable and omnipotent throughout the entire series. It quite literally has a character reach his limitations.
Yeah.
And that's, the one thing that lets film down is it's got a shit villain. But outside of the villain, it's because it's not battling the villain.
I like Sean Harris in this.
I like Sean Harris in it, but he's a terrible villain because he doesn't feel threatening. But the threatening bit of it is that Ethan Hunt is hitting his limitations. Ethan Hunt is hitting his...
Andrew's hitting his limitations.
Andrew's hitting his limitations, yeah. He's hitting his limitations, and the things he's doing, they're not versus the bad guy. They're versus himself, essentially. And Rebecca Ferguson is incredible.
Yeah.
It should be a star-making vehicle. And, the fact is, it's a Mission Impossible 5 movie. It's a Mission Impossible movie. It's not really there. I cannot understand why she wouldn't be in with the best supporting actresses of the year. It's a great performance. There's a bit of drama to it. There's a little bit of comedy to it. There is also great action that she holds her own in. She kicks ass, takes fucking names. It's a fantastic performance. There's an accent within that as well. I honestly, genuinely can't understand why people won't sort of go, well, hang on a minute. She's fantastic in it. Could anyone tell me what country she's from?
Yeah.
Without knowing. Could anyone tell me what country she's from?
Yeah.
And you'd be fucking surprised what country she's actually fucking from. She's fantastic.
Is she Swedish?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
The whole film is brilliant. It was one of the great summer blockbusters, and it was one of those where it took everyone, not by surprise, but it took its own momentum, and it was almost surprised at how successful it was, but it thoroughly deserved it. It's a greatly entertaining movie.
It was the second best summer blockbuster. I think that's fair to say.
What was the best? What later on?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Okay, it's not going to come on my list.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that does come up. Yeah,
it's a summer blockbuster.
It's the kind of summer blockbuster?
Yeah.
Alright, that counts in, yeah, fair enough. Then fair enough. Yeah, it's the second best summer blockbuster then.
Yeah.
I still count that as a little independent movie for some reason, even though it's not. Yeah,
it's very much not. Okay, I'm sure everybody knows what we're talking about. But, okay, my number 8, as I said on the last podcast, is better than The Hateful Eight. It's Bone Tomahawk.
Is that number 8?
Yeah. What?
It's my number 8.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Bone Tomahawk's the shit.
It's brilliant. It's fantastic, yeah.
It's a mental mix of Western road movie and pretty full bore gore fest.
Yeah, and what I love about the Bone Tomahawk, it's a Western.
Mm.
It's a proper Western.
Mm.
Because Hateful Eight's not a Western.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah.
It's not a Western. It may be set in the right time, but it's without question not a Western. Bone Tomahawk's a Western. You know, it might have gore elements of it, and it's a thriller, and it is a thriller, and it's like that. And it's you could argue that it's an on-foot road movie, but it's a fucking Western.
Mm.
That's it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Kurt Russell doing something different from Hateful Eight. I mean, I know when like the kind of the pre-publicity was going around, it was like he's doing 2 westerns with big mustaches in 1 year, but the performances, the performances are very different. Hateful Eight, he's one-minded.
The Hateful Eight's more reminiscent of like Tombstone era, Russell.
Sure.
Whereas you know, Hateful Eight is very much reminiscent of modern Russell.
What Bone Tomahawk?
Bone Tomahawk's very reminiscent of Tombstone.
But Hateful Eight is more reminiscent of
modern Russell, and that I'm here, I'm retired, but I'm doing a film.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think Fast 7's a bit like that as well. It's like I'm just going to turn up and chat about Belgian ale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which she guessed that's what Kurt Russell was interested in at that point.
Yeah, quite. I don't know. Bone Tomahawk. It's just a mix of all sorts of things, but it is primarily a western, and it works. And the cast are all doing really, really solid work. Like everybody is good in this.
Yeah,
everybody. But when it does, like a guy at work, I recommended Bone Tomahawk to him, and he came in the next day. He was like, "I watched that Bone Tomahawk with my girlfriend last night," and I was like, "Tom, that's a terrible idea." He was like, "Well, I wish you told me that before I watched the thing." I was like, "Mate, I'm sorry, but I described it as a western with massive gore elements to it," and he was just like, "Yeah, but like she likes Kurt Russell and she likes Matthew Fox, and yeah, a guy gets like turned upside down and literally hacked in half. Yeah, it's stuff you don't see every day, and the direction is spot on.
Yeah.
The dialogue is great. The interaction between everybody is fantastic, and for what it means to do, it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you've got a film, I think making Kurt Russell look great, it isn't that difficult.
Yeah,
because he's Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
making Richard Jenkins look great isn't difficult because he's Richard Jenkins. He is great.
Yeah,
making Patrick Wilson look great isn't that difficult because Patrick Wilson is usually great. Making Matthew Fox look great is more of a challenge. Matthew Fox is fantastic in this movie. He's fantastic.
He's really good in this. Really good.
In the fact that he's taken a character, he's run with it, and it's a great character, and he's the character that you wouldn't think as an art, but then once he's gone, you go, wow, that's a character. That's a great character. It's a strange thing, he jumps up in the end of his thing, but it makes sense for his character. The way that everything transpires with him, it's a really well structured movie. In the fact that it goes for it. The gore happens very quick and it's done. It's gone. And it doesn't then... My worry with Bone Tomahawk was that we were going to watch a thriller western that would descend into just an outright horror. And that would have been boring. It would have been, you've built all of this and then you've just gone, it's got to go, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it would have been like, fuck off. but it isn't. It's there's all this build, and it builds, and you go, oh, wait a minute, okay, no, that makes sense. And I thought it was fantastic. I think it's a great film.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I very much agree. Sorry, I'm in Heineken haze at the moment, but no, yeah, it is fantastic, and I'm looking forward to owning that fucker on iTunes and just being like, every now and then, just being like, I'm going to watch the fuck out of Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, one of those ones that it'll be a fucking Thursday night of a movie, that will be, which isn't a detriment to it.
No, perfect. Okay, so were we doing surprises or disappointments now?
Disappointments, I'd say, because then we've done some positive, and then we'll throw out some negative into the mix.
Okay, so you got top 5?
I do have a top 5 disappointments, yeah.
Do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll go first. My number 5, In the Heart of the Sea.
Number 5.
Is it number 5 as well? Yeah. Oh, cool. It's not about the thing about great disappointments are they don't necessarily be bad films. They're just films where you didn't quite get what you wanted out of it. I didn't get quite what I got in the Heart of the Sea because what I either wanted was a story of the Essex, or I wanted a story that featured the Essex but was a story of Moby Dick, and what we got was nothing. It was in between the two of them, and I felt disappointed the fact that you've got that budget, you've got that director, and you've got that cast. Do one of the fucking other, make your mind up, and it did feel like a film that was filmed and caught between two stools.
Yep, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And after Rush, I was thinking Ron Howard, big budget.
I've still not seen Rush, and I bet it's fantastic.
It's really good, is Rush. Yeah. Okay, your number 4? Because that was my number 5.
My number 5, Black Mass.
Okay, yeah.
That story, that cast, you should be producing something better. Like, you really should be. You know, you have the story of Whitey Bulger. Even if you take away Johnny Depp, the rest of the cast is fantastic. Even if you throw in Johnny Depp, yes, he can't do it anymore. Clearly, he can't. Because the prosthetics are stupid, because he doesn't look like Whitey Bulger. Mm. If the prosthetics made him look like Whitey Bulger, you'd be going, okay, but they don't. It's become a crutch now for him that he has to look different and weird and kind of otherworldly. Mm. But Whitey Bulger didn't look like that, and it doesn't make sense. So, although it's a perfectly passable movie, it's just when you've got all that, you should be making something better. You really should. It was a disappointment in how mixed it was. Yeah, how subdued it was.
No, I mean, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's not on my disappointment list because it was Scott Cooper, who I'm not in love with any of the stuff he's put out so far, and I'm not particularly in love with Johnny Depp. So it's I mean, we reviewed only a few weeks back, and it was like, it's fine. Mm. It's fine, but it probably should have been more than fine, but it's not one that stuck out to me on this list.
No,
it is what it is.
When you put it up against another similar era gangster movie of the time, of like Donnie Brasco, it's not. If you say Donnie Brasco's, let's say, 9 out of 10 movie, you compare Black Mass to that, it's a 5 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, fair enough. My number 4 is The Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Which I was really looking forward to. I quite liked Room 237, and I was intrigued to see what this guy...
I hated Room 237.
It's easy to hate it. I don't know, I was caught up in it, but almost is more like a visual art piece of art or something more than the actual content, but it worked on me.
Blathering nonsense is what I call it.
Yeah, fair enough. The Nightmare is blathering nonsense. And, you know, the whole kind of like using actors to like act out the people's nightmares and stuff, and it just basically...
horrible.
It resorts to jump scares to try and keep people interested, because what the people are talking about is basically the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And, I don't know, it kind of felt like this type of subject matter could have had something more interesting, or maybe this is just the definitive account of this subject matter in that it's not very interesting. So who knows? But yeah, that's my number 4. Your number 3.
My number 3 is Legend. Story of the Craze. You've got Tom Hardy playing Ronald Original Cray. You've got a decent supporting cast around them. You've got, I think, the kind of the goodwill of things like Peaky Blinders, stuff like that, of setting the tone, everything like that. And then you deliver Legend, where you've got a brilliant trailer followed by a film. Feels very ITV drama. It just, you never feel like you learn anything new about the craze. You feel like if you take away Hardy, quite simply, you would have a TV movie. He elevates it slightly above a TV movie because he does play both characters quite different to each other, and he does get them quite well. It's a great performance, but I think beyond that, there's not a lot there in the movie, and it just felt like a huge disappointment in the fact that I think if you had a better director or writer on staff, you'd have a more interesting movie. There's a story to tell there, and the problem is it's been told badly once, so it ain't going to get told better another time.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah.
Oh, right.
My number 3 is It Follows.
That's a disappointment.
Yeah, because of the amount of noise that people generated about it. And Noel and I went into the cinema very pumped. Yeah. And the air in the room got noticeably lesser as it went on, and as we went out, we were not the only ones muttering. There was a guy who just said that was the biggest piece of shit I've seen in ages, and the incessant love for it absolutely baffles me. It baffles me. I don't get. I don't get it. I'd like someone to explain it to me.
There's no point.
You know, so it is what it is. It Follows, number 3, talks about it enough.
Oh, yeah, it comes up later on.
Yeah, number 2.
Avengers 2 Age of Ultron.
Okay, yeah. That's fair.
You see, the thing about Age of Ultron is, I'm now at the point of where it was teetering on my bottom 10. Because I'm now at the point where I'm prepared to say, I don't think Age of Ultron is just a disappointment. I genuinely think it's a bad film.
Okay.
It might have some good scenes in it, might have some good sequences in it, but one of the key things that I've heard people criticise certain other comic book movies about is that they look slightly like you're playing a computer game while you're watching them. Age of Ultron looked like that.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron also got stupid in points. It went into stupid. Ultron, I don't give a shit what it looks like in the comics. I don't care. We're not watching a comic, we're watching a film. And you have to tweak things for your different mediums. And if you piss off some fanboys, so fucking what? Like fucking films aren't fucking tweaked characters to piss off fanboys. Ultron looks bad. The way he looks bad in film.
Yeah.
It does, there's no getting away from it. It felt like Whedon didn't believe in the script, the story, and got bored halfway through.
Yeah.
Whedon himself acted like he couldn't wait. Like he knew that he couldn't slag it off, but that he could be a bit of a fucking moody fucking teenager that look after his fucking younger brother on fucking vacation. Is what he felt like about that movie.
Yeah.
And it all felt a little bit like, even like Marvel would admit and go, yeah, we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball with Age of Ultron. But we're going to rectify it with Civil War.
Yeah, it already feels like they've slightly written it off.
Yeah.
With Civil War and Doctor Strange, like Black Panther and whatnot. It just feels like that was the end of the initial Avengers bit, whatever, just move on, it's fine.
The thing is, what Marvel have to do now is ensure that they haven't dropped the ball, they've just fumbled a little bit, and they have to try and catch it straight away again.
And to be fair, Ant-Man's kind of helped with that because it was received pretty well.
Ant-Man's not done a disservice, certainly, yeah.
There hasn't been two, in a row. That's the thing.
Yeah, and I think, there's a possibility Deadpool could kind of just not raise that, certainly, because it's not high profile enough, but Deadpool could kind of like just make a few extra people. It's not going to lose any fans of Marvel, but it might make a few peripheral people go, that was fucking cool, let's go. And get people a little more excited for Civil War.
I'm still of the opinion that I think it's going to lose money hand over fist.
It absolutely will not.
Okay.
It's too low budget to lose money. It's too low budget to lose money.
I don't know. I mean, like you say, it does.
If there was no publicity behind it, I'd absolutely agree with you. But they are pushing.
No, they are trying. I just think they're preaching to the converted. But we'll see.
I think I'll bet one out.
But I mean, Age of Ultron. It is just. It's one of those weird ones where it felt like it was going to be really, 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 really big. And then it came out, and then Jurassic World just pissed all over it.
But you had stories coming out saying that everybody, when James Spader did his first reading of Ultron, everybody stopped and just clapped. Brilliant, fantastic. Why the fuck didn't you use him more then?
Yeah.
Why did he become essentially like a joke character in the background, like a Bond, not a Bond villain, but the archetypal fucking idea of a Bond villain? Why did it become that? It's a bad movie. There's no getting away from it. It's a bad movie.
I liked it first time round. I tried to watch it with Donna, and we got halfway through, and we turned it off, and I've never gone back to it again.
You take away the idea of the modern Marvel movie, you put that out there fucking 10, 15 years ago, and people are talking about Age of Ultron in the same fucking way they would League of Gentlemen. It's a bad movie.
Extraordinary Gentlemen.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, yeah.
Yeah.
League of Gentlemen. Well, maybe the same. Go on, what's your number two?
My number two is... The fuck is my number two? Fucking shit off. Oh yeah, I remember what it is. Tomorrowland.
I still not watch this.
Because it's George Clooney in a film directed by the guy who did the Iron Giant, Ratatouille and Mission Impossible 4. Summer blockbuster. All sorts of mystery wrapped around it. And it's dull as bloody dishwater. And it basically seeks to lecture you about how you are shit.
I am shit.
And how the modern world is shit. And do you know what would be good? For everyone to go back to the 50s and wear stupid-looking bloody uniforms. And be optimistic. But not really do anything.
I'm only so optimistic then because in my mildly fucking tipsy brain I thought you were saying and be Optimus Prime. I was like, that sounds fucking great.
No, it is boring. There's barely any fun to it. It does feel like you're being lectured at, but unlike Birdman, it doesn't feel like it's very entertaining. It's just Brad Bird basically going, I am better than you. And I think more highly than you. Let me explain why. And it's weird. Like he seemed to be framing it as like it's trying to be more optimistic about the future and whatnot. It's like, yeah, you're being optimistic about the future by basically saying you want to revert people to ideals of not Cold War paranoia, but that era of the good old American family and like little Jimmy having inspiration about.
I've made his name off a cartoon which essentially started pop culture in the modern sense and started meta comedy in the modern sense,
yes.
And then further fueled his name in Digimotion.
Yeah, and also took to Twitter recently and complained about franchises and whatnot when his film before this was Mission Impossible 4 and his next film is in The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
So it's just, no, that's a bad Brad Bird, no. to be fair, he wasn't helped by Damon Lindelof either.
Damon Lindelof wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that, man.
So, you know...
What a fucking hack that guy has been outed as being over the past... Since he quit that fucking terrible TV show.
He's so hot right now with The Leftovers that, like, everyone now loves Lindelof.
Leftovers?
Yeah.
The TV show?
Yeah.
Is that a hit?
Yeah.
It's shit.
Series 2, like, had people fucking jumping all over their pants.
Okay.
So that's the thing, like, Lindelof, I don't know whether we're supposed to hate him or like him anymore because the internet's too fast for me.
Well, do you know what? I didn't watch Lost, but people either say it's shit or make excuses for why they don't think it's shit. Every film he's touched has been shit. And I watched half the first series of Leftovers and literally would prefer to cut off my own foot than watch any more of it. He just seems like a writer that I don't understand why he's got the reputation he does, because everything he seems to touch seems to turn to bullshit.
Yep, fair enough. That's my number 2. Yours?
Number 1.
Oh, number 1.
No, number 2. I know number 2 as well. My number 1.
Oh, yes.
Crimson Peak.
I thought you were going to do It Follows.
It Follows comes up later on, but...
I thought you said this was your number 1.
No, I didn't say number 1.
I just spoiled your number 1.
What?
This is your number 2?
No, it's my number 1. My number 5 was in Atlasy. 4 was
I thought you said
Black
It Follows was coming up.
It is coming up, yeah.
It's surprising.
No, I didn't say surprises, disappointments.
Oh, right, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, Crimson
Peak.
Disappointment.
What the fuck isn't Crimson Peak on my list?
I don't fucking know. It should be. In the fact that Crimson Peak isn't terrible. It's not. It's not terrible. It's a 6 out of 10 movie. But it's Guillermo del Toro. Why isn't it better? It's the only explanation I can give to it. It should be better. The CGI on it looks a little bit ropey.
Oh, my number 5 can fuck right off. This actually goes in at number 2.
Yeah, the ghosts feel in symmetry to Devil's Backbone, which is fine, but it's made 12 years, 15 years later. It could make it look better.
Yeah.
You know, you can get away with that. Devil's Backbone in a low-budget Mexican fucking movie that about ghosts. You can get away with that, it's fine. But in this, you shouldn't have to. The story runs away with itself. It stops making sense, and it feels like they run out of it. I even, to a point, don't agree with the general consensus is that the story's crap, but it looks great. I think it looks great at points, but I think at other points it just looks. At other points, it looks a little bit like the fucking TV special Rose Red, the Stephen King novel. It looks a little bit like that in terms of the house thing. It's a huge disappointment in the fact that not that the film should be better, but Guillermo del Toro should fucking be doing better. You know, we wait a long time for Del Toro movies, and this was the promise of this was, it was going to be more like Palans or Devil's Backbone, but in English. It was shit if it's in English for a start off. I just want to see something like that. But in saying that, I loved Pacific Rim, and I loved Hellboy 2. So I don't give a shit about it, mate. I just wanted it to be fucking good, and this just felt like mid-budget Del Toro, and like almost like if he's got 10 million, he can produce gold. If he's got 100 million, he can produce gold that nobody else will like.
Yeah.
But if he's got 60 million, he produces that noise.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, like, it's been announced this week that his next project is going to be a remake of Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
James Cameron's producing, and it's like
that's going to be instead of Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
The sequel. I'd love to see a Pacific Rim sequel, but I'd also love to see a Fantastic Voyage.
Pacific Rim, in the end of the day, that film didn't have to have a sequel. I wasn't leaving stuff open. It was like, right, this rift's closed now. I'd imagine Pacific Rim 2, they'd find some other ones or something, but that film closed down. It's like, right, everybody's arcs are completed. That's fine. If we got more, that's great. If not, never mind. So that's fine. Crimson Peak, yeah, there's really nothing to it other than the production design.
Yeah.
I mean, that really, it's not scary.
Yeah.
The chemistry between Hiddleston and Wasikowska is non-existent.
She's a crap actress.
Chastain is admirably nutty towards the end, but there's not enough of her doing that. And I don't know. It's disappointing. I do want to watch it again, but I've got a feeling I'll think exactly the same. And you got that whole bit with Charlie Hunnam talking about spirit photography or whatever, and then that bit never actually comes back.
No, I don't. It's weird, that.
My number one is Legend, because Tom Hardy as the Cray brothers should have been great. It should have been great.
Yeah.
It didn't need knockoff Goodfellas shots.
No. Yes. Yeah.
It didn't need Emily Browning's From Beyond the Grave voiceover, which I just no. I mean, you said it all really well then, frankly. It's such a missed opportunity that it's one of. I mean, it made like £18 million, which is a lot, you know. So
it's done decent money in America as well.
Yeah, it's actually not done bad.
You know, I don't feel bad towards it in terms of it making money. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think it's missed opportunity.
Can you hear that fucking wind?
Yeah. We are in Michael Mann's ideal London view right now, aren't we?
Yeah, very right we are.
Nice view from where we're sat. What I'll say.
Right, so let's move on. I've got a feeling I might crash in a bit. We might have to record in the morning or something.
You're struggling. We have to do 7, 5, 7, 6, and then 5, and then.
Oh, I've got disappointments and worse yet as well, haven't we?
6, 5 disappointments. Then we'll do the rest of the morning.
We'll see how we go.
Let's see how we go.
All right. So, do you want to do your number 7?
I certainly can, yeah. My number 7 is... I've actually announced it earlier on because it was the same as Brad's number 7. My number 7 is The Martian.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Scott's The Martian. I recently rewatched a couple of nights ago. Second time, and I really enjoyed it the first time. But I really, really enjoyed it the second time around as well, you know. And it probably would have been... It'd have been touching my top 10 the first time. The second time, it fairly wasted itself in there. In the fact that it's a great... It's just plus 2 hours, the movie. It's got 2 hours 20, I think it is, which is maybe not just plus 2 hours. That's quite a bit over 2 hours. But it's ridiculously entertaining. It's fun and it's light-hearted and it feels more like an adventure film than it maybe should do. What's beautiful about it is the standout parts of it are when you've got Matt Damon on a planet, on his own, essentially, in his own words, sciencing the shit out of everything. That's when it becomes more entertaining. When he's essentially he's working out problems, and you had a lot of people coming out and doing that fucking snarky, ridiculous, bullshitty fucking thing of going, well, he wouldn't do that, and he wouldn't do this, and this wouldn't work, this wouldn't work. And I thought, you know, Ridley Scott's not one of those people who I think he's a very competent director. I think he's a very solid director. I don't think he's a great filmmaker. I don't. I think he's a filmmaker who's made great films. There's a difference. But his answer to those people was fantastic, of where he said, well, for a start off, if you talk to people, these people are trained. You know, astronauts are trained by, you know, everybody, and they're also trained by the military as well, in terms of, right, you deal with problems in certain ways, and the way you deal with problems are, number 1, establish shelter. Number 2, establish a food source. Well, not number 1, establish shelter. Number 2, establish of food and water source. Number 3 is establish a medium of communication. And number 4, find a way out.
Yeah.
And if you look at The Martian, that's what he does. He does those things. He establishes, right, this is my base. I have shelter. This is how I'm going to eat. This is, I've got water source. Now I need to do communication. Let's do this. And the other bit is that people criticise, well, what the physics of it all, the thermodynamics, the astrodynamics, and all this shit. And Ridley Scott's answer to that was, you're all missing the point of the fact that he's on Mars. We've not been to Mars yet. You can't then turn around to me and say, oh, the physics of getting out of Mars are wrong. We've not been to Mars. Yeah. You're not starting off at that. You can't not start at that, but you can't start off 5 miles down the road and tell me you don't know where the shop is 5 miles back because I don't know where it is. Yeah. So it's stupid. He said, so the idea of the way I won't do this is, one, I'm not saying he will do, but it's all bollocks. He said, so, fuck off. Which is a great response.
Yeah.
I just think The Martian is a thoroughly entertaining movie, and I think that Matt Damon, although he won't win the Academy Award for it, because Leonardo DiCaprio will for The Revenant, but whether or not he deserves it or not, which I'm not saying he doesn't, but he absolutely deserves an award, and a nomination. And if, let's say, he did get an Academy Award, well, anyone fucking hold it against him. It's a fantastic performance. It manages to... One great thing about The Martian is there's one big and emotional breakdown from him. And it happens, and it's gone, and it's done. And that's it. And it could be full of emotional breakdowns, but it isn't. There's one. And because there's only one, it hits you more in the fact that when you look at it, this guy has grown fucking crops on Mars. Yeah. And then when the shit hits the fan, when all that gets destroyed, and it looks like, quite literally, he is going to die, that's when he loses his shit. And you look at it and go, you know what? Fair enough.
Yep.
That's a moment you can lose your shit. Yep. It's a fantastic film. Really is a fantastic film. Even if you take away that little fucking 3-minute section that looks like an advert for Lincoln University.
Which bit?
The bit where the Pathfinder and there's the Pathfinder thing, and at the what's it called? The rocket propulsion station. They're doing that with the Pathfinder. They're communicating with him on that, and they have that speed montage bit. It looks like an advert for Lincoln University.
Fair enough.
It does.
My number 7 is Xavier Dolan's Mummy, which has had a bit of film Twitter outrage this week because Netflix apparently screwed with the aspect ratio.
Which they did change.
Sorry?
Which they've changed.
Yeah, which apparently wasn't actually Netflix doing it. It was just a technical snafu with the mastering of the copy sent to Netflix. To be fair...
Which what I will say about that is, well done on Xavier Dolan for getting in touch with them, but that open letter made sense. I agree with the idea of the letter, but it was incredibly pretentiously worded. No. And it did make me look at it and go, I agree with your point, I agree with your sentiment, anything like that, but my God, you sound like such a dick.
The thing, I gotta say, judging by the films of his that I've seen, and the fact that the guy is younger than us, like comfortably younger than us, I'd say fair enough.
No. I don't do grace for that. Sound like a dick.
I don't know. It does genuinely. Have you seen Mummy?
I've not seen the film, no, but still, the letter that he just said. Although I agree with everything he says, I think it's fantastic. I do think it was. I agree with all the sentences and that, but I did read it and go, I agree with what he's saying, but Oh God, you sound like such a prick.
The aspect ratio thing is a really, 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 really key moment of the film.
It might well be, and I haven't seen the movie, so that there's that to take into account as well. Yeah,
it's really, really key. And when it changes back again, it's fucking suffocating.
Yeah, and I might change my mind when I've watched the movie, but the letter did feel a little bit like, okay, you made your point, but wow.
From his point of view, I could see why he kicked off in the way that he did. It would have helped if maybe he'd privately got
maybe
to
that's
Netflix instead of just here's this open letter, because it was basically, it looked like he had been informed by Twitter in general that this was all Netflix's fault. And Netflix, how dare they? They've got to fix this. So he comes at Netflix when it was a technical error.
And that didn't feel like he wrote that as a response to that. It felt like he sat down and he wrote that over a couple of hours.
Yeah. But it just... It seems like it wasn't Netflix's problem. But anyway, it was just... They will show what they're given Netflix. They're not going to do anything. It just, yeah. But yeah, the film itself, it's pretty heartbreaking. I mean, it's very upsetting. It's claustrophobic thanks to the aspect ratio, and you genuinely don't know what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next, really. It's just a piece of a kind of like social realism, which just so happens to have a Britpop soundtrack and aspect ratio changes, which add a shitload of emotion and feelings to the whole thing. It's a fantastic fucking film. And Dolan's a guy, I've still got a couple of his films to catch up on, but he's, for me, between Heartbeats, Tom at the Farm and Mummy, he's free for me. So, there you go.
Right, we're away at the moment, are we? We're away for the night tonight, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, my missus is watching a couple of my missus and my daughter are taking this opportunity of moving away to a bit of a film night. So they've sat down, they're having pizza and they've got like a load of sweets, stuff like that, because we all eat sat on a table on an evening. So they're having the excuse of they're going to sit down in the living room and they're going to watch something while eating pizza and eating sweets and things like that. So I asked my missus, what have you watched? And I got a response saying, I don't know, I can't remember what I've watched. I thought, know what you've watched? And, well, we didn't watch Battle Royale, I can tell you that right now.
Nice.
So my 11-year-old daughter's been watching Battle Royale, and then they've been watching some... You haven't, have you? Yeah, maybe we have. They're now watching The Faculty, and I missed it. Faculty has a lot of boobs in it. Her response to that was, she'll have boobs eventually, she might as well get used to them. Which I can't really argue with, because it's not like the boobs in Faculty are not in a sex scene, are they? They're just boobs that are there. So I can't really argue with that. So yeah, so I've had that thrown back at me. Is my number 6 then?
Yeah.
Right. My number 6 is something that definitely won't be on your list. Is Spectre.
Okay.
I loved Spectre. We enjoyed the trailer. I hated the first 5 minutes of Spectre. I thought it was stupid. I thought it went on too long. I hated the first fucking sequence, Spectre, to be honest. The fight in the helicopter, I thought, was silly. You had Bond getting essentially bitch slapped by a henchman, for all intents and purposes. And then the more and more it went on, the more and more I started to really fall for Spectre. I frankly couldn't give a fuck how it falls within the other Bond movies. I'm going to judge it on how I felt about it in that one movie itself. Although I do take on board the criticism. I personally, I've tried with Skyfall, and I can't get on with Skyfall. It doesn't sit right with me. But Spectre did. I love Craig's broken Bond in the fact that from Casino Royale, where we started, he's a incredibly cocky agent who thinks that he knows everything and thinks that he can do everything, and then he gets broken immediately within the first movie of these Daniel Craig ones, and then we have this steady, the Revenge, the Broken Bond Revenge movie that is Quantum Solace, which I still think is a great movie. And then you have the Skyfall, which, although I don't like the film, you have him losing something else. Spectre is almost a culmination of those three movies in the fact that you've got this guy who is now has no idea really what he's fighting for, because everything that he's fought for has gone, and he's now doing it out of nature rather than anything else. It's all he knows how to do. It's all he knows how to exist. Is this, and then it's brought to him that this isn't this thing that he's doing, this nature that he's doing, where it's brought to him this thing that he's reacting to, and he's doing what he does outside of it, and it's no longer a personal thing. It's brought to him that what he's doing now it isn't about anything else. It's about him. It's all about him. It's all aimed at him. It all lands on him.
Yeah.
There's that element to it of the fact that, hang on a minute, this organisation there, yes, they're doing world domination on that, but why they're attacking me they aren't attacking me, attacking the country through me. They're attacking me.
Yeah,
this is personal, and that kind of got missed in the whole looking at Spectre. And the thing was, a lot of people looked at Spectre and said, "Oh, well, it's not as good as Skyfall." And personally, I thought, well, I think it is. But there's also the other wrong thing of you can't judge a film in its series against its previous movies. You should judge it against itself. And is it a good movie? And I think Spectre's a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to enjoy it. I'd be happy if that was it. If that was Craig's last Bond. And if you're not going to do it his last Bond, have his last Bond either be him quitting as Bond or him dying as Bond.
I think he's already quit as Bond.
He himself's quit as Bond, but he is contracted to another one. Whether or not they.
No, he will do another one. Like, despite what he said, it was like that fucking thing that came out last week about Christoph Waltz will only do it if Daniel Craig does another one. It's like they're both gonna be contracted. I don't get how that's a thing. Like I
think if the studio went, we've got somebody who we think's the next Bond, but they make sense as the next Bond now.
Oh no,
they'd go for it.
Yeah, no, totally, but they don't.
And I think we both have an idea. We'd both like to be our next Bond,
yeah.
And I think it's the same guy.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah, I think it's Dan Stevens. Yeah, because I would like to see him return. I don't like the previous Bond movies. I don't like Bond as a franchise. It's not. It's you do. That's fine. It doesn't appeal to me. I've liked Daniel Craig's Bond because he's a bit more gnarly. He's a bit more broken man. I love a broken man story.
You love Breaking Men.
I do love Breaking Men too. It's a wonderful thing. You can break and watch them cry and come all over them. It's fantastic. But yeah, that's why I enjoyed it. And yeah, expect to fulfill that for me. I really enjoyed it.
No, fair enough. No, I kind of disagree. But, it is what it is. We're supposed to be celebrating these things. So my number 6 is The Revenant.
It will come up later on.
Fair enough. Oh, sorry, let's just talk about it later on. Is it? What are we doing now?
Number 5.
Shit. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Number 5, and then it'll be our disappointments.
Cool.
No, I was surprised. Number 5 for me is Sicario.
Okay,
I
nice.
spoke about it earlier. What I love about Sicario, it's such a small story.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the tagline.
Oh, the tagline's fantastic. In Mexico, Sicario means hitman. It's a fantastic tagline. It's a brilliant tagline. It gets you engaged in the movie. It's wonderful. I like Sicario because it's such a basic story. Not a lot happens. But it's not the destination, it's the fucking journey. There's so much happening in that journey, in that small distance that you go to. One of the best scenes in Sicario is where you see the sheer scale of what they're doing in that bus station.
Mm.
And that's the moment where Emily Blunt realises that she's not important to what's going on. She's there, and they'll use her if they want. But if she walks away now, it ain't going to affect what's going on.
Yeah.
At all.
Just the fact that she is literally there throughout the whole thing, so it gives them some sort of jurisdictional okay to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
That is literally all she is there for.
And it's fantastic that she's used in that way. It's a brave move.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, in the current fucking ridiculous fucking climate we're in cinema at the moment, to cast a woman in that role is an incredibly brave move.
Mm.
To cast Emily Blunt in that role is an incredibly brave move. And for Emily Blunt to take it on is an incredibly brave move. And she's fantastic in it. Because she's a great actress. And there's a relevance to that point. It really is a brilliant movie. It looks fantastic. Mm. I'd be very happy for Deakins to fucking win an Oscar for that. Because it looks incredible.
Yeah, sure.
When they're going through that tunnel out of Mexico, there, it is startlingly beautiful. It's incredible. I think it's a great film. I really, really, really do. I'd be happy for Del Toro to become a best supporting.
That would be lovely. It's not going to happen, but it would be lovely.
He would pick up a nom, but not an award.
I don't think he's getting a nom.
I think he'll get a nom, but not an award.
How much do you want to bet?
Your left toe.
Don't know what left toe. Bet you a fiver.
I'll get a 5. I'll get it. I'll get a 5. He gets a nom.
Find out next week. Okay, so my number 5 is Carol.
I'm opening a beer. I'm opening a beer.
Why do you hate Carol?
I don't.
I know you don't.
I do not.
Why do you hate it? Because all you say is stuff you hate.
I don't hate it.
Carol has cinematography to die for. Kate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, I want them to get together very badly in real life. I want to see them just get together and it be alright. Carl Chandler, like, you feel for him so much, despite the fact you would think he's the two-dimensional husband getting in the way, ex-husband, and he's jealous and bitter and blah, 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 and yeah, he is, but he also has feelings and a daughter, and he understands what that all means, and Mark wants to go, Mark.
No, you continue going with what you think.
No, it's alright.
I think Carol is one of the best psychological horrors I've watched in a couple of years. Right. It is. It's a psychological horror that has convinced people it's a romance story, and it's not. You replace the character Carol, the lead character of the movie, Kate Blanchett, who has been highlighted in this podcast before, by Kate Blanchett, who I have issues with, and she's fantastic. She's fantastic in the lead role. She's incredible in that. You replace her with a guy. Let's say she's not called Carol, she's called Colin. That entire movie has a completely different look to it, doesn't it? But why should it? The whole movie is what people have taken of it is that it's this story of two people who just happen to fall in love and happen to be at the same sex, and against all of these odds. Well, there's not all of these odds against them. And at no point, and I've watched it twice, At no point in the movie does anyone tell them that what they're doing is wrong because they're two women. It doesn't happen in the movie. No point in the movie does that happen. It doesn't happen. What you've got is Carol, a woman. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It categorically doesn't happen. Nobody tells them they're wrong for doing it as two women. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
What's his divorce case brought up on?
Oh
my
okay,
God.
okay,
Right. Whoa.
fine. It's brought up on what is.
It was a genuine question, Mark.
It's brought up upon moral grounds, right? Doesn't state that it's because she's having affairs with other women. It's because there is a pattern of behaviour that happens to be women, not brought up on women. No one mentions that it's because it's women. There's a pattern of behaviour of the fact that she has a pattern of behaviour of affairs.
You think... So you're saying if it were Carol and a bloke...
No, I'm saying if Carol were a bloke.
Right.
Right? No, but wait, that's different. No, that's not regarding at that point, right? Carol, right? Look at it this way, right?
I'm looking.
Carol goes into a department store, which is what Therese works at, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, picks up Therese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it, right? Then brings her to a house on a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
right? With the intention... What's the intention there? It's with the intention of the minute...
I don't have the energy for the
minute
discussion, Mark.
The minute... Why? Because the minute that she goes... That her daughter goes to bed, she's got sexual intentions towards her. There's no getting away from that. She does.
Which Carol does.
Carol does, yeah, Carol does.
Yeah.
So she does. You admit that she does,
yeah, Carol
right?
does.
So there you go, right?
Yeah.
Then, Carol, and this is a spoiler for Carol, but I don't be shit, right? Then Carol finds out that there's this moral fucking depravity clause within her in her divorce, wife and kid, right? So instead of thinking, hang on a minute, maybe I should stay low-key, stay at home, anything like that, the first thing she does there is goes and says to Therese, let's go away. Let's go away. Takes a young girl out of her job and takes her away for essentially a dirty weekend. Takes a young girl away for that, uses her for what she wants to get out of her, and then dumps her. No, he just leaves her. Quite literally, leaves her alone.
To be fair, there are extenuating circumstances.
What are the extenuating circumstances? Because she knows about those before she goes away. They aren't new fucking information to her.
She doesn't know that it's going to be used directly against her.
She does know that she can be used directly against her. It's said in the meeting with the solicitor before it that it's going to be used against her. Moral depravity. There's these things. One of them that he's mentioned is this girl.
I think she thinks in that
Who,
moment
Carol?
that Harge isn't going to go that far.
But so why playing into why quite literally you can look at it two ways. One, you're either playing into his hands, or two, you're just chasing your own selfish endeavours, which is what she's doing.
She's doing what she's doing there because Harge has taken her daughter away from her.
Maybe Harge has taken her daughter away from her because, Harge comes back and what? There's this fucking strange woman in his house. Maybe that isn't the first time he's come back and there's been a strange woman in his house.
Well, no, it's not.
Hang on a minute, right? Let's flip it on its side, right?
Okay.
Harge comes back, right? They're separated, everything like that. And maybe he shouldn't burst into the house.
I would just like to say for the record, it's 20 past midnight. I'm rather tired.
Well, you brought up Carol.
It's in my best of list.
Harge, let's just say it. Harge comes back into the house, right?
Yes.
And goes in, and Therese is a guy called Terry that she's picked up at the department store, right? And it's a 24-year-old Terry, hot Terry from the department store, right?
Right.
Everyone's opinion of it changes. if there's a pattern of behaviour, maybe he's not looking at it and going, hang on a minute, this is her time with our daughter, and she's got a fuck toy around, waiting for our daughter to go to sleep so that she can then have her way with this. Maybe that's the pattern of behaviour that is wrong. Everybody's looking at this movie in completely the wrong fucking way. It is. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I am not saying it's bad. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. It really is. But it's not this story of this, they just want to be, they just want society to. It's not that at all. It's a story of essentially an older woman who finds this young girl that she can use, that she can have as her plaything whenever she wants, like that, because she's young and impressionable, and that's it. It even gets to the point at the end of it where she says, I've left Hyde, I've got this apartment and everything like this, and there's room for two. And she's like, well, no, I don't want it. And then she goes, do you know what? I'm going to play the one fucking card that I know that's going to fucking get you. I love you. She don't fucking love her. She just wants her there to fuck when she wants, and when she done, she'll fucking dump her. It's fantastic, but people who buy into it as this fucking unrequited fucking love story have completely missed the fucking point. It's not. Carol's a horrible person, and I adore her for it.
I think it's a lovely love story.
It's a terrible love story. She's groomed her. Grooming is the closest thing you can get to it.
Okay, she hasn't groomed her. In the end of the day, at the start of the bloody film, Rooney Mara's character is already feeling isolated, and like what is being forced upon her is not what she actually wants, whether it be at work or in her social life. She's basically with the guy because she thinks she's supposed to be with the guy.
Fair enough. Don't disagree with that.
Right. Carol comes in. Yes, she does essentially pick her up.
Yep.
She's not an underage girl.
No, she's not.
So
I
I think the term grooming is a bit.
Grooming is a little bit trite, but also I do think it's a little bit on point as well.
In a way, yes. And I know you didn't mean it in the underage sex kind of way, to an extent, but. In the end of the day, I don't know. It's a story of Carol, who I think at first is basically like, she looks like she's going to be a bit of fun. But I think they find a connection on that road trip.
I don't believe for a second she falls in love with her.
I totally do.
I don't believe for a second she falls in love with her at all. I think she's nothing more than a fuck toy.
I don't see that. I don't see that.
Any love. She leaves her. She leaves her the second.
The only reason why she leaves her is because it's affecting the one other thing in her life that she actually cares about.
She actually at one point turns round, points at Hodge, and goes, "Our daughter will be better off with you."
And what at the end? What is the resolution?
What? Maybe she just thinks, you know what? Our daughter will be better off for him, because she turns around. She turns around having a conversation with Sarah Paulson, isn't she? And Sarah Paulson says to her, "Do you know what you're doing?" And she says, "I don't think I've ever known what I'm doing." Essentially, slightly paraphrasing. Maybe she just realises, do you know what? I'm not together enough for this. I'm a little bit fucking sky.
Yeah, which is why by the end of the film they've basically agreed shared custody.
Yeah. Well, no, they haven't. They've agreed he's got custody, she's got visitation. She gives up the idea of shared custody because she quite literally turns around to him and says, "You'd be better off."
Yeah, so what's your problem with that?
My point is that hang on a minute. She's proposed with the case of you can't see your daughter because Hodge has got a taken custody of it and says you can't see her because of these moral reasons, right? And everyone assumes that that's because she likes women, but he's never stated that that's the reason. No one ever says that's the reason, and no, they don't.
Well, no,
no one ever states they do. No one ever states they do, right?
But in private they would. But in that,
but if they don't, but they don't ever state that they do. But they don't ever state outright they do. So anyway, right? So, continuing on with that, she then, later on, essentially agrees. Maybe our daughter would be alright to him. So, if you're assuming that they are saying that is because it's with women, you've also got to assume that maybe, if you open it up to worlds outside of what is directly said, maybe this isn't the first affair that she had. Because we know it isn't the first affair. She had an affair with Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
So we know that isn't the first. So maybe that isn't the first time that Sarah Paulson has had to say to a girl, oh, by the way, she's gone. Maybe that isn't the first time she had to do that. Because it doesn't seem like that's the first fucking bed that Sarah Paulson has sat at the base of and said, pack your shit up, let's go. So maybe she should come to the realisation, do you know what? Maybe I'm not the best fucking mother in the world, and maybe she would be better off with Haj. And that's it.
I'm too tired for it. I'm too tired, I'm sorry.
As my argument on Carol fucking wrecked your brain.
It's not wrecked my brain. We'll get into. I'm happy to redo this tomorrow. It's been a lot of recording tonight, man.
There has been. So we've got a lot of recording in the morning there. Breakfast is going to be fun.
Alright, we'll be alright.
That will easy get done, man.
Is that alright?
No, that's quite
You're very wrong about Carol.
You're very wrong.
You're very wrong.
I'm incredibly spot on, nailed on about Carol.
Very wrong.
No, you bought into this ridiculous idea that it's a
bought into
beautiful,
shit.
lovely love story that has been peddled, and it's not. It's a terrible horror movie almost.
I haven't bought into shit.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
It's a weird step, though.
Really?
Yeah, it's a step.
Fuck, that was nearly an hour and a half in itself. Okay, so it's the morning after, and I think I'm probably sounding more awake. Mark was sounding pretty bloody awake last night when we left her with Carol. But we're going to leave it there with Carol, because that could go on all day.
We're going to agree to disagree on Carol.
Yes.
Despite the fact that Ian did point out, I don't think I made it clear that I actually really, really enjoyed Carol as a movie. I think it's a fantastic movie.
Yes, you just have problems with it.
Yes.
So we're going to do our top 5 surprises now. Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, my number 5 surprise will not be a surprise to a lot of other people, but it was to me. It's Inside Out.
Okay.
It surprised me in the fact that I don't get on with Pixar, but I really thought Inside Out was a fantastic movie. I mean, it's nowhere near my top 10 or top 20 or anything like that, but for me to actually like a Pixar movie after it finished is quite a rarity. So yeah, number 5 was Inside Out. I thought it's really well written, really well meaning, a nice looking piece. It straddles the idea of there's enough sort of colour and enough sort of whimsy there to get really young kids involved.
Nice, yeah.
But also it floats right up where there's a lot of kind of meaning in there, and there's a lot to look at it, I think, from the whole parenting aspects as well. So it really worked for me. I thought it was a really good movie.
Very cool. Okay, so my number 5 is The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I had no reason
Which
to...
is my number 4.
Oh, fair enough. Cool. Okay, great. No reason to suspect that I wasn't going to like it. It just... The advertising wasn't amazing. It was coming out in like the middle of August. It kind of felt like it was being dumped, and it kind of was, yeah. I think. But it's like light and frothy, very, very stylish, fantastic score. Cast all look like they're having fun. And, you know, I wish we were going to get a sequel, but we never will.
Yeah, pretty much the same for me. I hated the advertising for it. I thought it looked terrible. It looked like a subpar kind of Bond-esque thing, and it didn't work for me at all. And then when I watched it, I really enjoyed it. It's fun. It is the best way to describe it. It's a caper movie, which you don't get a lot of now. It had the balls to not be spoofy or be over the top, but still be a lot of fun and a little bit kind of silly, but not zany silly.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Number 4.
Yes, my number 4 is The Gift.
Yes.
I was very surprised by this one, just because it seemed like it was going to be a fairly standard issue, kind of like mysterious stranger is a threat kind of thriller, and it morphed into something more than that. And the question of who the real bad guy was kind of switched all the way through, and then I think the answer towards the end is like, well, there is more than one bad guy. Not everybody's just bad or good. Everyone's shades of grey, but there is one character who's probably more shades of grey than another. And it's also Rebecca Hall's film, which wasn't really given away in the marketing.
Yeah.
The marketing was very much, it's Jason Bateman versus Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
But no, not really. I mean, like, the setup is that, but then Rebecca Hall kind of takes it on, and, you know, she's very strong-willed, and seeing her faith in what she thought she knew get eroded through the course of the film's very, very well done.
Yeah.
And it's Blumhouse again, you know, the Blumhouse strike again.
Yeah, Joel Edgerton's directorial debut, I think, wasn't it, as well? Yeah, and he's you know, you now look at going, well, hopefully he's going to make more, because it was a massive success, and it kind of came out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
But it's been quite a critically well-received movie.
Yep, absolutely, man. Okay, your number 3.
My number 3 is Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse.
I need to see this.
For a start off, it's called The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. So you don't actually expect that much. You expect it to be scouts sort of fighting zombies and it looking a little bit kind of silly. The marketing made it look very crass and a little bit kind of childish. And then you kind of think, well, it doesn't look like, I'll watch it, but I don't like it'll work. And I saw it on one night about midnight before Christmas. And after about 20 minutes, I was sat thinking, all right, this is a lot better than I expected it to be. And by about 40 minutes, I was going, all right, I'm actually really, really liking this. It's, the setup is fantastic for what happens. All of the performances are brilliant. It's crass, but without being... It's crass, but without being nasty with it. It's fun with it. It's kind of playful with it. There's some great scenes, like where they have to jump out of a bedroom window and get over a wall to avoid some zombies, so they're all looking at a trampoline going, oh no. And it works. It's a fun movie. It gets in, gets its job done, gets the fuck out before it starts dragging. But yeah, I was really impressed, actually. It's the tooling up scene where they tool up to what is it and sort of use all their scoutiness to do shit is really good. And there's a nice kind of sort of dramatic vein running through it that works quite well.
Nice. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I will give it a shot. I know you talked about it on the show a few weeks back and had me intrigued as well. Just, end of the year, like, it's kind of like you want to get stuff that you think is going to be in your best of list or could be. And I'll be honest, Scout's Guide wasn't one I was thinking would be there, but I'll get to it now.
No, like I say, it's one of those. I probably wouldn't have watched it if I wasn't up at midnight.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, my number 3 is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl.
Just trying to see this.
Which I just wasn't really that fussed about seeing whatsoever. Just like kooky film fan, got kid, makes friends with a girl dying of cancer. Yeah, great. And it's not perfect. The girl is, by the end of the film, the girl means less to the film than you thought she did, which is a shame. But the girl, Olivia Cooke, she is fantastic in this. She gets the whole gamut of emotions of having cancer and like kind of just the general like living, knowing that there's a time bomb inside you. So you can't be miserable all the time.
Yeah,
you've got to kind of get on with your life still. That's really well done. But the relationship between the Me and Earl as well is interesting and it's fun. The film parodies are actually pretty solid.
Yeah,
like a Sockwork Orange, which is a Clockwork Orange with socks. That's fine. I don't know. I mean, like it's
I don't want to say too much, to be fair, because you haven't seen it. But
No, I'll watch it quite soon, to be honest.
yeah, fair enough. I'll leave it there. But I was very pleasantly surprised by it. Number 2.
My number 2 is Spy.
Okay, yes, nice.
If you would ask me, I'd say I'm not a Paul Feig fan, but I've really liked his past 2 movies. Really liked his past 2 movies. The only movies that I didn't like was Bridesmaids, and I think I should rewatch that just to see if I was in a funny mood when I watched it. Because I really like The Heat, and because I really like Spy. It's fun. And I think we've had that a lot this year from films. There's been a lot of fun films that have worked, that have settled quite nicely, I think, this year. It's been a fun year for cinema, really. And that's what Spy was. Melissa McCarthy is... she's a great comedic presence and a great comedic performer. And she holds that film together really well. The problem is all the marketing for it was far too much of it seeming like it was going to be Fat Girl Fall Down.
Yep.
Because... and all the fall down jokes are in the trailer, but it's not, and it's ridiculous. They don't have the kind of bravery to go, no, it's not. This is a woman who's doing her job really, really well. But then what they do in the trailer is they go, oh, look at this bumbling fat woman fall down, and look, here's Jude Law doing his job really well.
Yeah,
and it kind of misled you. But then when you actually watch the film, it's really entertaining.
Did you see the thing on Twitter this week about the DVD disc of it, the image on there?
No.
It's just Jude Law and Jason Statham, like, back to back with their guns.
Yeah.
And it's just like, where's the main character? Which is a fair comment, you know. It's interesting. I wasn't surprised by how much I liked Spy, because I liked The Heat and I liked Bridesmaids. So, and I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters. I don't care what people say. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to it. I think all the current sort of set photos and things like that look good. It looks like it could be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. So. Yeah,
I mean, it'll be with us slightly sooner than we think, won't it? Like, I think it's June, so you know it's coming.
It's not far away, is it? No.
Yeah.
There'll be a trailer very soon, I would think.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, wouldn't you? Like, whatever the next big Sony film is, I'd think the trailer would be attached to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe earlier. Okay, my number 2 is Turbo Kid, which I had an absolute blast with. The thing is, it was one of those Fright Fest films where you think, oh, they're lauding it at Fright Fest.
Yeah.
It's going to be like just one of those.
Yeah.
But it's very, very, very violent, but it's also very sweet.
Yeah.
The relationship between Turbo Kid and Apple is really, I don't know, it's really nicely played out. You want to see those two kids get together really badly by the end of the film. And Michael Ironside gives really good bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, he's as Michael Ironside bad guy as normal, which is the acceptable level of Michael Ironside bad guy. So, I mean, it very low budget, but uses the kind of like just real locations and like digital grading and score really well to evoke like 80s, like kind of like John like it's like a kid's play version of a John Carpenter film.
It is, yeah.
Which is great, and just I love the beginning as well, where it says like it is the future. The year is 1984, or whatever it is, which is fantastic. So yeah, Turbo Kid's my number 2. I'm really looking forward to watching that again.
Yeah, I've not seen it again. I know Becky's watched it a couple of times. She really, really liked it. It was in her top 10 of the year, I think. My number 1 is Pixels. For the simple fact that is that if at the start of the year you'd have told me, oh, somebody's making a movie where a load of computer games come back and attack the planet, I'd have gone, oh, that sounds like nostalgia baiting fucking bollocks, I'm avoiding that. And then if they'd have added, oh, and it's got Kevin James and Adam Sandler in it, I'd have gone, oh, fuck off. Oh, and Kevin James is the president and Adam Sandler's his mate, and they race Pac-Man in minis. I'd have been at the point going, what? No, this is too stupid for even those people to make. Yeah. And then they did make it, and I watched it, and I actually watched it going, right, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go in with an open mind, but essentially in the back of my mind, I was watching it for bottom 10 fodder.
Yeah.
And then it finished, and I watched it on a Saturday night at like 7 o'clock, and it finished, and I thought, Do you know what? That was perfect for Saturday night at 7 o'clock. It was a perfect film to watch at that point. I enjoyed it enough that I'd probably watch it again at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. You're not going to have me complaining at you. I think both our number one choices are probably disappointments to some people, to be honest. But I thought, I felt sorry for Michelle Monaghan. Like, her role is basically slightly shrewish divorcee who cries a lot, and then Adam Sandler hooks up with her.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Adam Sandler hooks himself up with a lot of attractive women in films, doesn't he?
Yes. My number one we will have at the end of the show, but I will say it's Mordecai, but we'll have more of a discussion of that at the end of the show. Please don't shoot me. So back to the top 10, and what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Mad Max.
Okie dokie.
We've spoken about Mad Max quite a lot on this show, so I won't take too long. It's one of those films where when I sat down to watch it and it was about to start, the thing that rattled through my brain was, shit, what if this film isn't as good as everyone's saying it is?
Yes.
And then I'm disappointed. And so I was worried. And then within a minute and a half, I was going, yeah, I have no need to be worried. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then it was. It's fantastic. I love the fact that it quite simply is a car chase from one place to the other.
Yeah.
And then they go, we need to make a decision. And Max kind of finally snaps out of it his madness. And it's a different type of Mad Max, which is brilliant because he's mad and angry in the first one.
Yeah.
And in this one, he's mad. He's crazy.
Yeah.
He basically goes, right, I'm no longer mad, but I'm about to tell you something that is quite mad. We go back.
Yeah.
And they go, what? And he goes, we go back. And it works.
Yeah.
Hardy absolutely, essentially, is there to be Max and to be there, but is happy to give the film to Charlize Theron and say, hey, look, this is your movie. I'm not the title character, but I'm just going to sit here and go, and do that. And he doesn't seem to care, really, about whether or not people think he's the star of the movie. I mean, he said, I'm not the star of the movie. Charlize Theron and John Miller are the star of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm just in it.
Yeah.
And that's perfect. Looks fantastic. It's amazing that film got made, and it thoroughly deserves all the praise it's getting.
Who's coming up?
Is it?
My number 4 is Steve Jobs, which I was just riveted watching the actors doing their thing here. Danny Boyle lets them get on with it. He's got a couple of directorial flourishes that are kind of like the Dylan quotes, are projected on the wall and the shuttle launch and whatnot. So he has his thing, and the whole shooting each different period in different stops and then digital at the end. That's like that, and kind of aspect ratio shifting and big titles. Yeah. You kind of do any of those things, you've kind of already got me. I mean, I very much I was in this film's wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But also just the fact that Sorkin has written it not as somebody interested in tech, but as a human story.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm listening to Sorkin after as well. It's fascinating because he says nothing in this film is made up. Everything happened, but maybe everything didn't happen at the time it happened in this film.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a hard concept for people to get their heads around, I think. The fact you've got all this real, in quote marks, stuff in artificial settings.
Yeah.
But it's a film. It heightens the kind of the drama of it all to have all of this happening before these product launches, and also there were people studio people saying to him can't you have it before the launch of the iPod and stuff like that? He's like, A, it doesn't make sense from a time point of view. B, I don't give a fuck about the iPod. I don't care about the tech. I care about the people and their thoughts on the tech, but I'm more interested in what their grounding is in the thoughts of the tech and their reactions to it, and so their reactions to each other, like the Cube, the perfectly like that thing, and that is not there as Sorkin interested in tech. It's an interesting narrative device to have people go off on him about his quest for a closed system, through the Cube. You know, and it's like a visual representation of this closed system and how he's closed off to other people. You know, I mean, it's not rocket science, but it works. And I think it's very lushly written. The performances are top notch. Like by the end, completely don't give a shit about the fact that Fassbender doesn't look like him. You just don't care.
He's fantastic in his Fassbender. He takes on a mannerism, I think, that works. He becomes the version that you see of Steve Jobs within that very quickly, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, Steve Jobs, my number 4. I'm really looking forward to watching it again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to rewatching Steve Jobs. My number 3 is The Big Short, which we spoke about on the last show, so I won't talk about it too much. I really enjoyed it. It's a timepiecing kind of modern history that kind of fascinates me. It's a sort of a world that kind of fascinates me as well. So it's playing to somebody like me, and when it's done as well as it is, it's very entertaining. You've got the ridiculousness mixed up with the actual severity of what was going on, and then you've got these guys at the centre of it who essentially are they are portraying the fact that they know what's happening. They're betting. They're banking on it happening. They want it to happen, but then when they realise the severity of it, they don't feel bad, but it hits them. But then they realise that, hang on a minute, this is everything we wanted and everything we predicted. But shit, now it's happening. We're making more money than we predicted we were going to make, but it's fucking more things up. But hey, at least we're going to be on the other side of it with a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's a weird kind of way to look at it, but it is like that, and it's very much is Adam McKay holding up kind of like a microscope and saying, look, this is what happened, this is what fucked everything up, and by the way, it's all happening again.
Yeah.
You know, and in this country we're about to drop the investigation at corrupt banking. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's mental.
We're about to drop it because, well, let's face it, because a lot of the people that are investigating are Tory party donors.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason why it's getting dropped. So you're now throwing up into it. Corruption's becoming something, I think, across the globe and in big business and in governments. It's becoming something that has steadily become more, as it becomes more exposed, it becomes something that's more accepted.
Yeah, it just generally does seem to be more, like, it just, you're expecting it to happen.
Yeah, and so as it becomes more expected and becomes more exposed, and there's no repercussions, or there's nobody that can cause these repercussions, there's nobody that can point at them and go, you know, a prime example is FIFA, for instance. There's nobody at FIFA can turn around to set by for years and point at him and say, right, we're closing you down because for so long, he held all the cards.
Yeah.
And that can be mirrored across big business and governments, is the fact that they're accountable to no one. They hold all the cards. And now they've been openly corrupt.
Yeah.
To an extent of where very, very soon, you know, within the next 50 years, you will quite literally have a prime minister or a president who will televise them getting bribed by a fucking, what is it, just to go, look, I'm getting all this money to sell our resources to a different country, and look, this is me shaking the guy's hand.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. We're already at it, you know.
Yeah.
You've got televised things of Cameron shaking hands in Saudi Arabia, you know, a country that's just been thrown out of the UN for its terrible human rights record.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
No, Yeah, I don't know. You could go into those issues all day.
Oh yeah, and probably a better forum than our sweary podcast.
Yes.
Go on, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is Inside Out, which
Very good.
it's very good. It's wonderfully smart. I'm slightly, when you were saying earlier on about it's kind of colourful enough for little kids, I'm a little bit unsure of that.
Because you've know better. You've got a 2-year-old daughter.
She wasn't that fussed on it at all, but she's not fussed on a lot of things like at the moment. So it is what it is. But the thing is, it's more about the story than it is about watching the characters run around and do stupid shit. Which I think Pixar with Monsters University and Cars 2 have been guilty of, but also, like with Brave, that's a film which is concerned about its story, but is just a bit lacking. It's just a bit dull.
It lost its way, I think, Brave.
Yeah.
It ran away from them, I think.
Yeah, quite. So it's like perfectly formed. It is very emotional. The way what it comes up with at the end, like you have to have sadness in your life to be able to appreciate everything else. You have to let sadness in every now and then is like a wonderful notion, which really only this film can convey visually. The whole kind of like, because it's got the characters in their heads. Wonderful in that aspect. It is fun. And in Bing Bong, you've got a character who I thought was going to be shifty. I thought he was going to be the fly in the ointment. He was going to be the bad guy. But in the end of the day, there is no bad guy in this film. If there is a bad guy, it's growing up. But even that's not really, because like by the end of the film, all those other like lands have opened up, and there's so much more emotional complexity for the kid to have.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the thing. Really, there is no bad guy in this.
No.
You'd kind of think maybe Sadness would be, or Bing Bong would be, or like her parents would be even. But no one's a bad guy. It's just a girl living, like, they're going through adolescence, and, that could sound boring, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's not. It hits all the right beats, I think.
And it's got Lewis Black as Anger, which is as perfect casting as you're ever going to get, frankly. So, my number 3, Inside Out.
Cool. My number 2.
Yeah, should we do 2s and then worst?
Yes. My number 2 is The Revenant.
Okay, cool.
Very recently watched. It's that kind of a weird mix of kind of Herzog and Malick, I think, within it, where you've got the ridiculousness of the setting and sort of the brutality of the setting, and then it's kind of mixed in with quite a lot of. It takes you into this world, and then you live within this world while you're watching the film. It's all, I think, almost all of it really. That's beyond like a couple of scenes is set outside. There's very little dialogue within it in terms of for the sheer length of the film, and it seems like these people are constantly in peril of something, and a lot of the sort of marketing about it has been like it's Leonardo DiCaprio, just essentially travelling, to get revenge, and it's kind of not. There's a lot of other stuff going on within this film. It's visually it's stunning to look at. The performances are all fantastic. I'll be honest, I think Leonardo DiCaprio has been better. But I think he's very good.
Yeah.
He will win the Oscar for it because it's his time.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad that the Academy is becoming that, though. That performances aren't winning because they're the best performers. They're winning because it's their time. However, it is one of the best performances of the year, without question. I personally think Hardy steals the film. I think he's fantastic. A testament to that is Becky, when we watched it, had forgotten that Tom Hardy was in it. And about an hour into it, she went, "Shit, that's Tom Hardy."
Oh, really? Okay.
I was like, "Yeah," and she went, Shit, I've only just realised.
Yeah.
I've only just realised that that's Tom Hardy. And so that's a testament to how he takes it on. It's just a fantastic film to look at. It's fantastic to watch. It's great that it feels how long it is, but it doesn't feel too long, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
No, yeah, totally, yeah. It does feel like you've been sat there for 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like, oh shit, this is going on a bit.
Yeah.
You know, it just, yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the cinematography is incredible. There's like shit in this that you've never seen done before.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like the kind of the initial attack.
Yeah.
Like just like the way the camera's flowing.
It's a constant movement, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's kinetic
Yeah.
for sure. And yeah, I mean, DiCaprio. It is basically watching Leonardo DiCaprio do a lot of really gnarly things to survive.
Yeah.
But that's captivating. That's really interesting.
It is, you know, there's some great moments in the moment where he puts the gunpowder in his neck.
Oh, and you see the fizz of the fire like when he applies it. Oh my god!
And you watch him going, "Oh, he's going to do this, isn't he? This is going to really hurt."
Yeah,
and it's like that, and it is great the fact that he's not just travelling somewhere; he's having to essentially get through all of these tasks to get back, and then he gets back, and he isn't getting back to survive. It isn't about survival. It's a proper full blown revenge story, which is fantastic. It works really well, and you've got a proper bad guy. You know, Hardy's full. He's in full bad guy mode. Not a single thing he does is good, with the exception of one thing. The fact is that when he's saying about, you know, we need to go to Will Poulter, he's right, they do need to go. Not for the reasons that he's saying they need to go, but they do need to go. But then he doesn't keep up the charade. The minute Will Poulter asks him and says to him, you know, was there anybody down there? He just goes, no.
Yeah.
But in his mind, what he did was right. And he's completely, he's a proper nasty person.
Yeah, I mean, he's a proper nasty person. You know, at the start, he's just a bit of a shit stirrer, but by the end, he's not like maniacal or anything. It's just like, I am very much out for myself. I've made fuck all money on this trip.
Yeah.
Now you're telling me we got to lug this guy around. From a point of view, you can understand. Like, you can understand where he's coming from.
You understand why he's pissed off.
Yeah.
You actually can. He's just going about it in completely the wrong way. But you can see his point. But yeah, it's a fantastic film, and he said, you know, I know from reading about it with Internet, you know, he fully admits that the production kind of just got away from him a little bit, but not in a way they were always in control of it. But it was more grueling than expected to be, and it cost a lot more than expected to cost. But once they got down that road, they had to fucking keep going, as they did, and they produced an incredible movie.
No, yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like the technical proficiency is absolutely spot on, which in those conditions must have been brutal. Like, doing those camera moves in those conditions must have been so hard.
Well, I mean, everyone who's worked on it has said it's the hardest film I've worked on. It wasn't but they've all been quite quick as well to say, look, I'm not saying it was a bad shoot. What I'm saying is it was a difficult
That's
shoot.
The thing, like, the kind of the press on this it's been kind of like the press trying to deal with a shoot being difficult, not necessarily being bad.
Yeah.
You know, and like, how do they report on that?
Yeah, I mean, DiCaprio doesn't do a lot of interviews. DiCaprio, he's built that kind of world for himself fantastically. But he's said, you know, that it's a film that I would never say I enjoyed making it.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad I have made it.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely work with all the people again, you know, because there's a lot of rumours going around that he'd fallen out with an actor and everything like that, and they've both been very quick to go, no.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not even, we're going to say no. A genuine no.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it was my number 6, so, you know, that's what I feel about it as well. Yeah. Any more on that? Or?
No.
My number 2 is Room. So, yes, very, 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 very late entry here, but I'm happy with where it is. Yeah, I've not been as emotionally affected by a film in a while. Like Inside Out did at moments, but this film, there are whole scenes throughout where I felt like I wanted to cry. You know, I mean, really, and it might well be because I'm a dad, so it'd be intriguing to see your point of view on this. And like Brad was saying yesterday, I think it would work more if you're a parent. Yeah. And totally. But I don't know. Jacob Tremblay, the little kid in it, is stunning. Yeah. He's so good, and he's probably going to get an Oscar nomination, and I'd be alright with him getting it. Yeah, it's not just little kid performance. It's a great performance. He 100% nails how kids build worlds for themselves with their own logic, and if you try and break through that logic, they'll kick off. Like Lottie, at the moment, she's got this thing of whenever she has a bum changed, she gets out the changing mat, she gets out the nappy bag, she gets out the Sudocrem, opens the pot with her teeth, opens up the wipes and whatnot, and if you touch them, she's got to start all over again. You have to let her do her thing, because she will not do it. She has her own ordered thing, and the way that kids have that thing, but they don't have the, it's all ego, so they don't have the capacity of maybe somebody else is correct on this one, and that's what this kid is doing in Room. But you've got that contrasting with Brie Larson, who, she's been trapped in this room for 7 years. She wants to get out, but I mean, horrible. The guy who's trapped her, basically comes in every night and rapes her. But she's got her ordered way of doing things. And when Mild, you've seen the trailer, haven't you?
Not seen the trailer, no.
Okay,
no.
Do you know what happens in terms of them in the room?
Yes.
Okay, so mild spoiler, but it is in the trailers. Yeah. But if you really don't want to know, maybe skip a few minutes. But once they get out, once they escape, it turns into the kid adapting his world and realising there is new stuff around and how amazing that is to him. But then Brie Larson, once she's out, not being able to deal with the world because her kind of ordered way of doing things is being messed up by the situation, which it isn't helped by the fact it's national news interest that this girl's been found and whatnot. And she struggles with it, and watching her parents struggle with it. William H. Macy is her dad in it, quite a small role, but the way that he's processing things, it feels kind of cold, but also, I could see why that character would feel the way they're feeling here. I mean, it's really fascinatingly played by everybody, but I mean, the direction is, is very unfussy, but the framing is really spot on. The use of the wide, the 2.35 to 1, is fascinating, because at first it makes the room feel bigger than it actually is, but then there's a scene towards the end where the room is revisited, and then because of all the the outside world stuff you've had for the preceding hour or so, going back to the room, it seems like shit. That's really small. Yeah, it's amazing how in the first part of the film they feel that it actually feels like, it feels like they got space. It feels like they could be somewhat comfortable with there, and then at the end it's fucking hell, they stayed in there. It's very well played. Very well played.
Looking forward to catching that. It was the one that I was a little bit. I wish I'd watched that. I just run out of time.
Fair enough. Okay, so let's do our worst.
Yes, I've grabbed my iPhone back.
Let's just get these set up. Okay, so do you want to
Do you want to just run through them? I don't think we need to take too
No,
much
no,
time
it
on
takes
this.
too long. My worst, we should run through. Yeah, my worst. Number 10 is Taken 3, which is just crap.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson found out his daughter's pregnant and then found out he's hungry. And his response is still the most bizarre scene in cinema of this year.
Forrest Whitaker eating evidence is a particular favourite of mine. It was close to my list.
It might be one of those ones I rewatch and go, do you know what? This is on an Alex Cross level of brilliant, but it is number 10 there. Go on, what's your number 10?
The Loft.
Oh, you terrible person.
Because it's bad. I don't know. The thing is, the last couple of years, I've had films that I don't like. There's been a lot of films in my bottom 10 that I haven't really hated, and The Loft I don't hate, but it is bad.
I can't argue with you on it being bad, but I really do like The Loft.
Fair enough. I'd say no more. Number 9.
Number 9, Aloha. It's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's and I really like Cameron Crowe. Look, I even like Elizabethtown, but Aloha is just boring.
By the time it gets to uploading all the music in the world onto that satellite or whatever it is, it's just what? Wow, you have lost the thread here. No one's business.
And you watch it going, end. Oh, thank Christ, it's ended.
Yeah,
yeah. Go on, what's your number now?
Insurgent. Divergent 2, which is just the most boring blockbuster. And have you watched this?
No. Isabel watched it, and she watched it upstairs. Then came downstairs when it finished. I was like, "Is that any good?" And she just looked at me and just shook her head and just went, "No."
Yeah, Nothing happens. It's staggering. Yeah. Nothing happens, Mark. Nothing.
I will never watch them.
No, fair enough. Number 8.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, okay, fine.
It's just not very good.
I liked it more than you, but I still didn't I didn't think it was a good film, but
it's not very good. It felt lazy, and like the way people give a fuck with the people who are in it, and even they stopped giving a fuck halfway through it.
I don't know. It's got the bit with Toby Kebbell walking around exploding people's heads.
That's quite entertaining, yeah.
Number 8, Paranormal Activity: Ghost Dimension. Because it's called Paranormal Activity Ghost Dimension. I don't know. It's a really... It has wrapped up the franchise, but it doesn't give you any satisfying answers, and the scares are really poorly telegraphed, and it's just the same again. Yeah. Whatever. I'm glad it's done. Number 7.
American Ultra.
It's
not very good. It's an action movie made by somebody who thinks they're making a really cool movie, and it's just not. It's just dull.
Fair enough. My number 7 is Beyond Clueless.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about this.
Yeah, which is just an hour and a half of boring. No insight whatsoever. Even as a visual essay, it's not. It's just not interesting.
Would have been in my bottom 10 had I remembered it even existed.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a complete waste of time. Is Beyond Clueless.
Yeah.
Number 6.
It Follows.
Yep.
I just didn't like it. I don't. It's one of those buzz films that everyone says is amazing, and I watched it, and I wasn't even disappointed because I kind of went into it going, "It's gonna be crap, innit?" And then it was, and I just felt a little bit done with buzz films, to be honest.
Fair enough. My number 6 is The Woman in Black 2, Angel of Death.
Game I completely forgot existed.
It's just really... Did you watch it?
I did watch it, yeah.
It's really boring.
It's so dull, yeah.
Again, barely anything happens. It's like they just made a sequel because...
Why not?
Yeah. Because the first one did really well, and then this one didn't do that well, and fair enough.
Yeah.
I just very much whatever.
Yeah.
Number 5?
Rec 4.
I would have I think I would have counted. I would have had this last year.
Yeah.
If because I watched it right at the start of the year, but actually, why? Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, yeah.
Rec 4 just not very good. Didn't need to be made.
Yeah.
You've taken from a horror franchise that was interesting and different, and you just made a straight-to-DVD horror film.
It's amazing how Rec and Rec 2 are so good, and Rec 3 and Rec 4 are so, bad.
Yeah.
That's really stunning. I mean, the same people involved in everything, and yet that.
Weird, isn't it?
My number 5 is Area 51, the long-delayed Oren Peli film, which nothing. It seems to be a bit of a theme of nothing happens.
Yeah.
To be fair, nothing happens. The first half of the film is them preparing to go to Area 51. The second half is them running around Area 51 and then getting sucked up into the air. That's about it. I like it. Was just there was little surprise it was sat on the shelf for like 5 years. I would say that. Number 4,
The Visit.
what?
It's crap.
Not that bad.
It's terrible. I really do wish that M. Night Shyamalan would stop making things. Please stop making things, because you're not very good at it anymore. I didn't like it. It just couldn't get on with it.
Number 4, Love.
Number 3, Love.
Yeah, nice. Literally, the only thing I liked about this film was the use of the John Carpenter music in that one scene in the club.
Yeah,
that was it.
It made me bored of looking at boobs.
Yeah,
it's. I like self-indulgent movies. I like directors, and I love Gaspar. I like directors to be self-indulgent. It's fun. This is just. It's childish.
It's hard work. It's hard work as well, isn't it? It's just so bloody long with people you just don't give a shit about, and just watching them shagging, and
it's just not very good.
So that was your number 3, yeah. My number 3 is Patrick, the guy who directed Not Quite Hollywood and whatnot, who also did Electric Boogaloo this year.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think it was actually made a couple of years back, but I'm pretty sure it actually got a UK release this year. Just really, really shitty jump scares. I felt really sorry for Shani Vincent, who was so good in Your Next, and is just completely lumbered here with a thankless role. It is all just loud jump scares, and I think it's close to 2 hours long as well, which is not a good thing.
No.
And Charles Dance in the most Charles Dancey performance you'll ever see. Number 2?
The Lobster, which I'm going to talk more about. I talked about it last week. Week before last. Just pushed all the wrong buttons for me.
My number 2, The Gallows.
I haven't watched that. Just because everybody says it's crap.
It's full of hateful people. It's the hateful 3 in this. You just despise them. Absolutely despise them. And by the end of it, where I don't know, it turns out the girl in it was actually in cahoots with the spirit all along, or whatever. It's just, I don't care, and I'm glad those guys are dead because they're dickheads. That was it. I mean, it was awful. Awful. Your number 1?
Trainwreck. Couldn't stand it. Don't like the fact that Amy Schumer has been foisted upon us and said, look, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person, you love her. I don't. I think she's an unpleasant person. Not an unpleasant character even, because it's just her in the film, let's face it. She's not playing a character, she's playing her. And then when she gets her big emotional bit, I watch it going, no, you deserve it. You deserve to be miserable because you're a terrible person. Why should anyone feel sorry for you? You're a terrible person. Accept it. You've been reveling in it and kind of showing off in the fact that you're a terrible person. Don't now try and get me to feel sorry for you when people point out that you're a terrible person. You should be sad. You should be alone because you're a terrible person. If you're going to wear it like some fucking badge of honour, you have to take the consequences with it. I thought it was an unpleasant movie. The only thing that was vaguely interesting in it is LeBron James driving 70 miles back to pick up his sunglasses. That was the only decent bit in it.
It was good.
It wasn't good.
American Sniper, of course.
You had that last year?
No, I didn't.
It was your worst film last year, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
Was it not?
No, I watched it in mid-January. I watched it after we did that list.
Yeah, I thought it was your number 1 last year.
I'm very scared that it was. I've made my feelings on American Sniper very well known. I don't need to go back into it. Just to say, his wife this week debated with Obama, and she didn't want gun controls to be restricted because she didn't think it would help any. Yeah. I'm sorry, no. Just because your husband was it is tragically killed by a guy on a shooting range, doesn't give you the right to try and actually basically lobby for arms.
Yeah.
I don't get that sensibility. I don't get that film.
No.
Anyway, yeah, American Sniper. But if I will say, if American Sniper were in my list last year, then yeah, The Gallows is fine as my worst film.
Are you just glad that you can get American Sniper as your worst film 2 years running?
That would be fine. To be fair, that would be fine. Okay, your number one. I haven't got a clue what this is.
My number one is a film that I saw that I actually watched the day after we recorded our best of last year.
Oh God! Okay.
Yeah, it's a film that's kind of stuck with me as being my favourite movie pretty much throughout the entire year. Inherent Vice.
Fair dues. Okay.
I loved it. It's such a shift back for Paul Thomas Anderson from how serious he'd made the films he'd made with There Will Be Blood and then The Master are both very serious movies. They're very weighty movies. And there's not a great deal of levity. They're both fantastic movies. But there's not a great deal of levity within them. Whereas this was going back to the ideas that he had with sort of Boogie Nights and what's it, and Inherent Vice is a comedy. There's no way of getting around it. It's a comedy that also happens to be a bit of a noir film and a detective film. And you've got all these great characters. You know, you've got Josh Brolin shouting Moto Panakeku repeatedly, which was one of the highlights of the fucking year. It is magnificent. And then burst into the room and just literally just devouring that entire fucking table of drugs.
Yeah.
It is fantastic. You've got him looking at the picture and just screaming and then just sort of putting it down. It's everybody involved in that movie seems like while they make it, they're going, this is a fucking great movie. Yeah. We're making a fun, really great movie. And the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson seems to be very much... It didn't do well. But his response to that was, not a lot of my movies do make money.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, they don't. And if you look back at it, none of his movies make money. They don't. But they're all critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
And Inherent Vice is the first one that maybe wasn't critically acclaimed because I think everybody was expecting it to be a little bit more serious than it was. And I love the fact that it was stupid and it was silly and it was zany and all over the place. But it worked really well. And, you know, the crux of the point is that you've got Joaquin Phoenix's character. He's actually really good at what he does. He just can't be asked to do it that well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty spot on. That I do need to rewatch Inherent Vice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I do genuinely love that movie. It's one of those ones where I watch it to make myself feel better.
Very cool. Oh, that's good. A film that makes me feel better.
Yeah,
Mad Max Fury Road.
Nice. I love that shot number one.
Yeah,
I already feel a bit bad for it to be number 4 on mine.
Yeah, no, I went in with a 4-pack of beer. And it was like, I just finished my last shift before a week off, and I was like, have me. Let's fucking do this, Mad Max. And it did. It's just so entertaining and mental, and the action direction is so good. And you know, George Miller was just all over everything in this. Every single aspect of the film had his dictatorship over it, but it's a dictatorship I'd like to live in.
And as well, it's insane that, what is he, 72?
Something like that.
Yeah,
sure.
That film's made by a 72-year-old man. It wasn't made by a 35-year-old director or anything like that. It was made by a guy who's wanted to make that movie for the past 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it also just, it feels like it's gonna... It's a film that kind of says everything's going to be okay. Yeah. Like, people are talking about cinema going down the shitter, and TV's so good right now and all that kind of bit. Like the best cinemas now on the small screen and stuff like that. It's like, no, George Miller's here to remind us that cinema still very much has a place.
Yeah.
And it looks like it seems like the type of film that is going to influence and in positive ways with filmmakers, I think, you know. I mean, like you said before, Tom Hardy, absolutely spot on. Charlize Theron, great, like, ferocious. That character could be a man or a woman, which is like the best compliment. But the emotional aspect of it is very well handled as well. Like I like the fact that at the start it does just kind of seem like she feels bad for those girls and she wants to let them, like, she's had a crisis of conscience, but then by the end it's like, no, this is trying to heal some pretty massive psychological wounds inflicted since childhood.
Yeah.
And, it's a film that's not told with a lot of words, but you understand everything.
Yeah.
And it's also got the guy in his pyjamas just, like, waking up and then immediately just, like, starts springing up and playing on his guitar.
Yeah.
Which is my moment of the year. Mad Max Fury Road, very happy to have it as my number one and can't wait to see it get a lot of Oscar nominations on Thursday.
I'd hope it does. It should be. I would think. We might not win that many, but it'll definitely get.
I'm placing a bet on Mila getting director.
You think?
I'm doing it. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. So that is it. Should we get some breakfast?
We should get some breakfast. It's a good year in film. I thought 2015. I think it was a really strong year. Right, end of the show, isn't it?
So we're going to be back next week. No idea what we're actually going to do next week.
Don't know what's happening.
No, Room's out, Spotlight's out. I don't know, actually, if there is going to be anything really to record a review on. I don't know. I mean, like, if we get desperate, I suppose your thoughts on Room would be good.
Yeah, we might do that.
But let me have a look. Okay, yeah, my phone's being shit. So, never mind. We will be back with something, though. And what you're going to hear now is a conversation we had with Andrew at Byron Burger last night, talking about Mordecai and a few other things. And we hope you enjoyed the year-end show. Hope the sound was all right for the kind of the out bits. And, that would have been in the last show, wouldn't it, I suppose?
A lot of it would have been.
Yeah. But yeah, we will speak to you next week, and cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we're now away from the pub and away from Brad, who completely torpedoed. No, he didn't. To be fair, he did a better job of hosting the bloody show than we did.
He's a showman.
Yeah. But Andrew wanted to give some thoughts about
I like
year.
to talk as well, yes. 2015, as we discussed earlier, I did say I think it was a good year for film overall. And I think the big thing were some of the surprises that I have stuck with completely. One of the big ones was, and this is going to be something everyone will go, what? Mordecai, which I've been running into the ground all year.
You liked it?
I saw it thinking I was going to be awful, the trailers were horrible, and I've been mocking the marketing on Twitter like the weeks running up to it. And I sat down and I fucking loved it. I think I'm a big David Coates fan anyway, so that's kind of endearing me to it. But it's a great farce. It's a really fun, silly art heist farce.
I would suggest what Tim Roth is doing in The Hateful Eight is not a million miles away from what Johnny Depp is doing in Mordecai.
I would agree.
I would suggest that you both talk complete crap.
How so? He's playing.
Depp lost it years ago, and it's a continuation of his obsession with being Peter O'Toole.
What's the difference between the two? How they actually play those roles? Because to be fair, with Hateful Eight, it is Tim Roth playing a role.
What's different within it is the fact that Tim Roth is very well aware of what he's doing is farce. I don't think Johnny Depp is.
Johnny Depp is totally aware that it's farce.
I will throw in Tusk as an argument against him not knowing that it's farce.
I have not seen Tusk, so I can't be privy to that part of it.
I will throw in Tusk.
I think he knows it's not very serious in Tusk.
Oh, yes.
Are you ready for...
Sorry about that, we were taking an order. No, I mean... sorry, God, what were we talking about?
We're talking about Mordecai and...
Yeah, Mordecai, but...
Johnny Depp playing up to...
Yeah, no, I mean, I think with Tusk, it is... I think he knows it's not very serious. And Mordecai, you can't say he's going into that thinking it's serious.
No, not serious. But I think he thinks it's not farce to an extent. I think he thinks it's funnier than it genuinely is. I didn't hate Mordecai. It's just it's nowhere near as funny as it seems to think it is, and it's going along. It's not.
Okay, I'm going to add this section in at the end of a particular section because it's my number one surprise of the year.
That's good. I kind of expected that.
Because like you say, the word on it was absolutely toxic.
Absolutely.
I watched it after the cinema. It was on Netflix UK. That's how long I waited to watch it.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I'm not going to say it's a 5 out of 5 comedy classic, but I thought it made me laugh multiple times.
Yeah.
And
I laughed once.
Your mother and father met only once and money was exchanged.
Yeah,
which is a fantastic line.
I laughed at that bit, and I laughed at that bit because it is completely incongruous to the rest of the movie.
Yes. Well, Johnny Depp knows.
Yes.
No. I
just said yes.
For fuck's sake.
We had that on record. You said yes.
Yes, that you believe that.
No, you said yes to me saying it's incongruous. I've taken that as golden because you said yes.
Okay, but Mordecai.
Mordecai.
Or I've had 3.5 pints and
Do not play the booze.
every single.
Johnny Depp could not play the booze for Mordecai. You can't play the booze for you defending it.
He's not blaming the booze for Mordecai.
Next
He's blaming his drug addiction.
The thing is with Mordecai, it's just not as bad as everyone says it is.
Honestly, right, it's not in my bottom 10 of the year as a spoiler. It's not that bad, but it's not very good either.
I don't know. The thing is, if no one had said anything about it wouldn't be in this list. But it was just the sheer fact. It's like It Follows. We would have already done. I think we already would have done the disappointments by now.
Yeah.
It Follows. I think it's like number 3 off the top of my head in disappointments because of what people have said about it going in.
There was so much put onto that film, and there's so much put against this film.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fine. It made me laugh. I'd watch it again, and I was expecting it. I was basically watching it because I thought I need some more fodder for my bottom 10 of the year list. And to be fair,
which pulls into what you were saying earlier, Andrew, is the fact that this has been a good year for film. The most difficult of all of my lists was my bottom 10.
Yeah.
That was my most difficult collection. Was my bottom 10 because not because I had too many, because I was going right. Hang on a minute. The ones that are near my 10, 9, 8 in the bottom 10, I didn't hate. They're just not good films.
No, quite. I know, quite. Yeah. I mean, it's farce. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's farce. Is it a kind of a traditional English comedy tradition of that?
But can I just say something? I'm not a big fan of English comedy and stuff like that. So I will absolutely admit that could have played into it for me because I'm not a fan of that kind of British comedy. So
it didn't key into things you would enjoy anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
And the fact that not only there's that to take into account, the fact that I think that when I saw it cropping up on anyone's sort of bottom 5 or bottom 10 of the year, I was a little bit going, hang on a minute, you're only doing that as a kick in the teeth to Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
You're not doing that because you think that's the bottom, that's the worst film. If you think that Mordecai is one of the worst 10 films of the year, you've not seen enough films of the year because I didn't like it. It's not that bad. Yeah. It's not. I wasn't bored during it. I just didn't like it because it's not my type of comedy. But I wasn't bored during it, so that is a testament to the film.
I
I mean, the thing is, I know, Andrew, I know you've never listened to the show, but there's a running thing here about me having a shit sense in comedy.
Yeah.
You do. Go on.
A Haunted House 2, I gave 5 out of 10, but I think that's probably the highest rating anyone has ever gave a Haunted House 2.
Yeah.
So, you know, I actually laughed at that film a few times.
Okay.
So this is the thing, it might just be that I've got not a tin ear for comedy, because it's not that nothing makes me laugh.
queer ear for comedy.
It's that I've got a fucked up ear for comedy.
But then again,
there you go. Yeah.
Ian, queer of it is that one of my genuinely one of my top 20 movies of all time is Weekend at Bernie's.
That's what I say.
It's Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
And I
You just bought it on iTunes.
And I did just buy it on iTunes, and I can actually physically prove that I am not just fucking talking bullshit. I genuinely
Well, no one's going to make that claim and then not back it up.
I genuinely bought Weekend at Bernie's on iTunes.
What have you bought on iTunes? Why have you bought Toy Story 2's How I Am?
I didn't have it free in some kind of thing.
Fight Club, A Good Old Fashioned Orgy, Home Alone, Interstellar, Mary Poppins, Midnight Run, Pretty in Pink, Toy Tunes, Untouchables, Weekend at Bernie's, When Harry Met Sally, Whiplash, When White Men Can't Jump. You can't actually say fairer than that.
I bought A Good Old Fashioned Orgy because I saw it for 99p to rent, clicked on it and went, $3.99? Yes. Thank you very much.
I think that's a really funny film.
I love that.
It's good.
I love A Good Old Fashioned Orgy.
Look at all the bloody iTunes films. Like,
Generally, Jesus, look at that.
I only have ultraviolets in my system.
me and Mark with digital only now. So
I am buying one more Blu-ray. One more.
Yeah, which one?
One more. I am buying the Mondo First Blood.
Oh, fair enough.
Steelbook.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's it.
There's a great triple bill there. Mordecai, Inherent Vice, and Fingers of Madagascar.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a solid. And then get them up. Nice. No, that's a solid
that's
triple
cool.
bill.
So when you buy like a box set on iTunes,
Yeah.
it segments it different films.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool.
I got a Werner Herzog short documentary ode to forgotten men that was free.
Seen that.
Yeah, it was free on iTunes.
Really good.
Might still be actually.
Really good.
But what else? So aside from
Yeah, what else got on the list?
I've got two other comedies that were genuine surprises. One was Spy, because at that point I was kind of proofing out.
Yep.
I was so excited for the heat and found it obnoxiously awful. And watching Spy and thinking, oh god, Melissa McCarthy's going to be doing the fat annoying character thing again, and perfectly sets that up. That expectation is completely.
I am absolutely with you on Spy. I hated the trailers for it, hated everything for it. Only watched it because on Ian's recommendation.
What, Spy?
Yeah, I watched it on your recommendation and really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was brilliant.
It's a fun spy thriller as it is, but with good comedy.
Yeah. Statham is great. McCarthy doesn't always do fat woman fall down.
No, she don't.
Which is super important. Rose Byrne is fantastic.
Oh god, yeah.
You know, and it's 2 hours of awesome, and it ends with Jason Statham thinking he's sailing off to another country where he's just on a lake, and then at the end you hear him shouting, "I'm on a fucking lake."
My second
Post-credit sequence, have you not seen that?
Oh, where he wakes up in bed with Miranda Hart. Yeah.
With Melissa McCarthy.
my second
I
favourite.
thought it was Miranda Hart.
No, Miranda Hart's got 50 Cent.
Sorry?
Miranda Hart's with 50 Cent to the end.
My second favourite comedic scene of the year is in Spy, and it's the face-off machine conversation.
Oh my god.
Put me in the face-off machine. What, I have to put 50p in? No, because there's no fucking face-off machine. And then when he leaves the office, he goes, I know there's a fucking face-off machine. That is my second favourite comedy movement of the year.
It's one of those kind of great moments. Rose Byrne is just so wonderfully deadpan, awful human being.
I love Rose Byrne a little bit more if somebody could say to Rose Byrne, Rose,
Eat a sandwich.
craft services over there, right? Please eat something, because the fact that she's as thin as she is troubling to me as a viewer.
I was kind of surprised she wasn't cast as one of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I think it's because they were worried that with all that the ectoplasm rage and like that, she'd be sucked in that shit and just disappear.
Well, either that, or maybe they had a scheduling conflict with X-Men Apocalypse.
No, I think my theory makes more sense.
What was the other one?
The other big comedy I say big comedy, Universal finally put out Search Party this year with Thomas Middleditch, TJ Miller and Adam Pally.
Oh, bless her. Donna just texted me saying, tell Mark to give me a kiss from him. So, there'll be more than that tonight, sweetheart.
Great job, missus.
Your missus is great. His missus is really hot.
We both have great missus.
Really hot.
Thank you.
Sorry, I missed what that other one was.
Search Party. It was a film that's been kind of put on the shelf for years. It's a hangover-style bros comedy where
It's like TJ Miller one?
TJ Miller, Thomas Middleditch, Adam Pally. It came and went in May.
Yeah, I was wanting to watch it, but it just never. One of those ones where I've gone to watch and never watched it.
Yeah.
Is it?
I was thinking.
I watched it because TJ Miller's fantastic.
I was thinking, well, it's got great people, it's going to be really good, and then realised it was shot 3 years ago and just kind of punted out and released over here in 2015, and in America it gets a 2016 release, kind of punted out. Thinking, oh shit, this is going to be terrible. I laughed all the way fucking through this one.
Really?
It's like 95 minutes.
TJ Miller's one of those people who can
Is it like out on like VOD and stuff?
Yeah,
now?
VOD, TV, you can get DVD copy as well. It's just there. It just got kind of flung out. I don't know why, but it's got all these kind of people can pop up. Christian Ritter and Jason Mantzoukas pop up for a crazy funny sequence. Thomas Middleditch is stuck in Mexico the entire film and is dealing with the fact that he doesn't know any language and is naked. Comic opportunities for improv there all
I'm
over.
just trying to look it up. I want to see how much it is to rent on iTunes.
It's £5 on DVD, so I'm guessing it's what, like $3.99.
It probably, yeah, probably. Films, Search Party, comedy. 4th of September 2014. What? $4.49 to rent, $9.99 to buy. Does that look right?
That is exactly the right look.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I will not illegally download it and then buy it if I like it.
I won't do that myself. It's probably going to be on Netflix at some point anyway.
Well, I will Netflix search it and see where it is.
Boom. And how about your disappointments?
Disappointment, It Follows.
Yes.
Was like, it's a great horror film. I'm not a horror guy at all. So when I make it a distinction to go to the cinema to watch a horror film, I want it to be a good film. I want to actually see something interesting. And It Follows bored me. It didn't scare me, it bored me, and that was his big problem.
And it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
It quite literally is a film that has survived on people saying it's good rather than actually fucking being good.
Yeah. And all it gets is people saying, does the film really have to make sense? Blah, blah, blah. It would help. It would help.
It's testament to having a clever poster and a good marketing team.
And funnily enough, Mark and I actually, Noel and I recorded a review of It Follows in the Byron Burger in Manchester.
Did actually, yeah.
Full circle? Not kind of full circle. Half circle. Flat circle.
Yeah,
Time.
was that before Goblin? No.
No, it was his stag weekend. I went up the night before.
Of course it was, yes. And I met you the next night, yeah.
And he was like ruined the next day, and then we had the most embarrassing stag weekend ever.
Yeah,
I know Noel's probably going to listen to this. He would probably agree, in fairness.
Yeah, we were in tame. Which is unusual, because usually usually when we all meet up, it gets fucking nasty quickly.
I had a really good night's sleep on the old Stag. That's not right.
On no stag, I watched on my phone, and I'm not joking here, I watched, like I don't sleep very well anyway, couldn't sleep, I watched on my phone a game, I watched Pretty in Pink, because it is my going out and coming home from somewhere movie. I watched Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I watched a triple bill of John Hughes movies, laid down on my side, on my phone, watching him while having an argument with another guy who went out to the toilet, and I went, I'll put a shoe in the thing. And he went, oh no, close it. I went, no, put a fucking shoe in it, in the door, because then you don't have to disturb everybody when you come back from the toilet. Just give me a shoe in there. What's going to happen? Oh no, close it. I went, no, fucking put a fucking shoe in the fucking door, because you're going to disturb everybody. And he refused to put a shoe in the door, so when he left, I unlocked the door, I put a shoe in it, and then locked the door.
Was that the long-haired gentleman?
No, it wasn't long-haired gentleman, it was a short-haired gentleman who, at Noel's, to be fair, at Noel's wedding, actually said to me, before the wedding, when we were having a drink in the bar up the road, actually said to me then, we were having an argument, weren't we, about that we should just put a smoke.
Oh, yes, interrupted there, but maybe we should stop in a minute. But what was your other disappointment?
He says I've just started eating.
Sorry. Thank you very much. You have fries. Thank you, Mum.
Like the surprises, most of my disappointments were in comedy. That's where my field of vision mostly lies, which was Sisters. Because you've got Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, you've got this cavalcade of brilliant improv guys, and everyone just coming in, and it's 2 hours of nothing. Like an hour of comedy party where nothing's really heightened or entertaining, and an hour of weird melodrama trying to masquerade as comedy. It's a bizarre film.
I've not seen Sisters, and I'm not a fan of either of the. I'm generally not a fan of either leads, but for the trailers, I've not seen it, and if I see it and I like it, I will freely admit I like it. It seems like a film that is essentially 2 comedians having a go at a generation of their own fans, and essentially just being a little bit bitter about it at the same time, and kind of going, oh, well, look at all this ridiculousness that we've traded off for years.
Right.
It feels a little bit snarky and nasty.
It's stranger than that, because in it, Amy Poehler's playing a tight kind of angry, annoyed character, the mother.
They've done a bit of a role reverse.
Exactly, and Tina Fey's the crazy one. And it always feels so wrong, the entire film. Because what they do best is what they do best. That's why they're so successful at what they've done. Yeah. And changing it up is a clear explanation of why they should kind of stick with what they know.
But don't you think that Amy Poehler's done that a lot post divorce from Milana?
What, changing up or sticking with the craziness?
Going for the more crazy zones.
She certainly hides it further and further.
Yeah.
But, you know, it works. It does work. And I just kind of wish, since it was, you know, the second film after Baby Mama, to have them both as the 2 leads, to market that film and then give us a complete disassociation of what we know of them, and also make it tediously long with no plot whatsoever that's discernible and no jokes, which is the killer. If it was interesting or it had great jokes, but it doesn't. The only thing that's funny in it is Bobby Moynihan keeps popping up and doing crazy shit, and that's about as funny as it gets.
Is Bobby Moynihan the guy who looks like...
He's a fat one.
Who's the guy who looks like he's melted? The guy who looks like a bad portrait tattoo of Mark Wahlberg on a guy's thigh.
Is that not John Cena?
Well, John Cena is just that wrestler that people are determined to admit can act and he can't.
good in train wreck.
Fuck you.
He's entertaining in 12 rounds.
12 rounds is alright.
Yeah.
What's that weird WWF film that we watched?
The Condemned.
It was really good.
Have you ever seen The Condemned?
Steve Austin.
That Mike really made us watch.
Yeah, it's Steve Austin and Vinnie Jones. Yeah, it's him and Vinnie Jones. Because there's that bit where, like, Vinnie Jones, just walks up a hill and then just goes, "That was one crazy bitch," and then behind him just explodes the woman he's talking about.
Oh my god.
I mean, sorry. It's,
We watched that in a cottage while it was a weird weekend, wasn't it?
yeah, we had a weekend in the Lake District. And it was the Peak District. The Peak District, sorry, yeah. I always get too confused, genuinely. Me, Mark, Noel, and Mike, wasn't it?
And John.
Sorry?
John.
Jordan. Oh, Jordan. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Just in a rented accommodation in the Peak District.
That sounds dangerous.
with an insane amount of booze.
Okay.
The amount of booze where you buy it and you go, we're not drinking all that. We're doing all that. And then the second night you have to go buy more. The worst bit was when who owned the property came round to see if we were alive, and Mike had to close the door to the living room because it was just full of empty beer cans, empty bottles. There was bottles all over a random crescendo of drug paraphernalia all over the USA. We're fine, we're great, it's brilliant.
I think I might end it there now we start to talk about drug paraphernalia.